bag, yo. Conscious. ISO. Diamond. Back in my bag and I gotta brag, I do this shit for real. When we was down and we had nothing, we had to share a meal. We put the shit in overdrive with no steering wheel. Shorty throw that thing back in a pair of heels. Yeah, she be riding on that thing like a Ferris wheel. Yeah, I love them dark skin, brown skin, caramel. You know I had to bring it to the hood like she Karen Civil when she keep on turning head. Cause when she walk that thing jiggle. And we going back to back on them like we Huey and we Riley. This that back in my back flow, we back again so highly. This that back in my back flow, we back to change the climate. This that back in my back flow, we bring the force like Tommy. Back in my back flow. Back in my, yeah, back in my bag, yeah. I'm back in my, I'm back in my bag, yeah. I'm back in my, this is my, back in my bag flow. Back again, yeah, we keep on stacking it, what's happening? Everything in Gucci got me feeling like I'm dapper then. Life has been a movie, yeah, so shout out to the cameraman. Pull up to the scene, it's going down like an avalanche. Steady going up like a travel plan. Homer Simpson face, lucky power plant. Yeah, I'm off that dope, like I'm back again to Vizzy. At the Millies, I don't club hers. Give the word if it's a cinch, Lord forgive me. Still having motion, dog, so why would I slow it? Make it rain on them, bust a band, then you throw it. We was steady having it, even at our lowest. High speed road runner, keep my motor going. Hey, people feel away, but they don't show it. Gotta watch the people that's around you, that you grow it. They be coming around you with some plans to steal your moment. Soon as I bust a nut, she be like, baby, where you going? Never slowing down, it's enough to go around. Yeah, you probably knew it's then, but really you don't know it's now. Niggas let it show and tell, but all my niggas know me well. Always either chase a dream or go to jail.
Lights go dark, the stream comes on. Javon's here, the vibe is strong. Click and clack, the steel in sight. Every edge sharpened, Friday night. Night flicks dance under the light. Blades that shine and cut so tight. Handles spin and edges glide. Friday night flicks worldwide. The craft with steady flow, steel and story you'll wanna know. Flick of the wrist, how smooth it goes. Every frame a master show. Night flicks dance under the light. Blades that shine and cut so tight. Handles spin and edges glide. Friday night flicks worldwide.
This is crack, rock cocaine. It isn't glamorous or cool or kid stuff. It's the most addictive kind of cocaine, and it can kill you. What's really bad is nobody knows how much it takes. So every time you use it, you risk dying. It isn't worth it. Look, everybody wants to be cool, but doing it with crack isn't just wrong. Could be dead wrong.
What's going on? Uh-oh. I've got my cold voice on. Hold on. Hey, guys. A, let me know if you can hear me. B, let me know if the commercials blew your ears out. The ones I played, the old ones. And welcome to Friday Night Flicks. Everybody, I'm glad to see every one of you here. I'm going to go through here. I'm getting weird messages. StreamYard. This app is getting old. Marco was in here earlier. The man Ryan Ellis is in the house. Angelo is in the house. Channel members, both those guys, thank you both. And y'all come to the Saturday morning short live stream tomorrow. It'll be fun. Be Shady, channel member. What is up, brother? Good to see you, man. Who else we got in the house? I knew we saw Paul Mills here earlier. What is up, Paul Mills? My brother and a channel member. Good to see you. Good to see you. And we got Blind Woo Fury in the house. Channel member, what is up, buddy? Good to see you. And happy Friday to everybody. Richard is in the house. Richard Hopkins, what's happening, brother? Richard's a huge sender of stuff for me to give away. I've got some stuff tomorrow that'll be part of that. And to just try out. He's really just you guys chatted up with Richard. I know y'all do when you see him in a lot of lives, but he's a super solid guy. Who else we got in the house? Not that y'all all aren't solid guys. I think I said hey to Joe Isabella. What's up, Joe Isabella? You beautiful person. The man, the myth, the legend himself, Joe Isabella. And if I've missed any of you guys, Ed, channel memo too. What is that? Uh-oh. I'm hearing my mic going in and out. So y'all are going to have to, when I get down here to the bottom, which I'm kind of trying to scroll to get down there. Knives are life. What is up? But yeah, if my sound is weird, Humphrey, what is up? If my sound's weird, if the commercials were loud, let's do a little test because I've got it super, super low. Let's just do a quick one that's usually really loud. And let's see how crazy this is. Y'all mute yourselves if you need to. And if you are easily frightened, maybe turn away. I don't know. So is that loud? Could y'all hear that? Does it matter? Not really. But I don't want to blow y'all's ears out. That's my point. I want to have nice lives. I want to have nice little sound effects that aren't too loud, but they're yet there. So, if somebody fails, I don't know how loud it is. It sounds one way in my headphones, sound totally different to you guys. The way I learned about it was Kyle Coonley was letting me know how loud. To continue, we need to confirm that it's really you. Next. Hold on, YouTube's giving me some weird stuff here. Hold on. I'm afraid my stream is getting ready to get shut down. Check your device. Hold on, guys. I've got to go to my authenticator. Go to YouTube's. Yes, it's me. 34. We should be back to good. That's weird. So StreamYard has tried to gutter slap me. And then YouTube also is trying to gutter slap me, saying it's not me. What is up, Savage Lee? Nice chat, dude. Nice to be here. I'm glad you're here, brother. We got some knives to talk about. We got lives to talk about. Really, just anything y'all want to talk about. We do have Kyle Coonley, Klingenwek Sharpening, who will come on later in the evening to answer not just questions that y'all might have about sharpening, because I know a lot of y'all don't sharpen your own knives, and I get it. Chris Tuchudon, what's up? But if you've got questions about stuff that are way above what my understanding about performance of steels, about his perception on different steels, I think he's a resource that is just very valuable. That's why I'm stoked that he's willing to come on when he is. So I'm hoping he jumps on sometime tonight, and he's here to answer questions. The way that these are set up is really for the chat, right? So you guys have things. Thank you, Humphrey. I appreciate that. I've reached out. There's a really cool guy. I need to put him up on Instagram. Tate Estes used to work at St. Nick's Knives, which y'all probably know St. Nick's. They're not a huge online retailer, but they still are. And he was one of the managers of the stores before they changed their name to Wilderness something. They're still St. Nick's online, but they put all their operations in Athens. So point is, Tate is also an Instagram guy. He's a knife guy, goes to all the shows, has, like, the other day he was showing me he was carrying a Strider Spike, which is kind of a rare little CTS XHP, little shank, right? But he buys and trades a lot of different knives too. So the point is, my knife store, I'm going to try to make more content there because it helps me get out and feature what I think is a really cool store in terms of their ProTech inventory, their Benchmade inventory, and the fact that their clientele is very high end and trade in really nice knives. They got another Battle Field pickup hinder in today, so they have two now. Yeah, they're your knife store too. So what I always try to do, and I'm talking to Tate tomorrow at 10, but their phone number should be in that video. They don't have a website. They do have an Instagram, but they're not very active on it. but they want you to call. If you have a question, they can take some pictures. Like, for example, if y'all saw that ProTech, which I wish somebody'd buy them because there are two of them there. They're new, discontinued, old stock of, I forget what it's called, but it's a single action ProTech out the front dagger. The last knife I would ever think I wanted, but after handling it, it's so cool. They've got two of them up there. I think they're $350 each, which is I think what they were, when ProTech was selling them. So super, super cool store. But if you call up there and like I've talked to Zach stuff, I said, dude, just call him and tell him the few knives that you might be like on your wish list that you'd like to be able to run into, rare ones. And they'll write it down and call you when somebody trades for one and brings one in. Because he says they're one of the only premier dealers, the only premier Benchmade dealer in Alabama, which means my understanding is they carry like 4 of everything that's currently available. And yeah, the custom knives that they offer. What's interesting about John, the main guy who wasn't on film at all, he sits in the back and sharpens knives and does stuff like that. But he started that knife store opened in 2005. I drove past it for 25 years, had no idea what it was, never even noticed it. It wasn't a blip on my radar. I got into the knife game about a year after getting into the knife game. I went in there. Um, Started talking to them, noticed that they had some really cool knives. At the time, they didn't have nearly the ProTech selection. They must have recently, in the last year, inked a major deal with ProTech, and Microtech as well. They had Spyderco. They had, your really nice knives. But anyway, I asked him, I said, what made you start a knife store? He's like, dude, I was a knife addict. I had so many knives. At some point, you get so many at your house that you realize how ridiculous it is. So you open a store, and make it even more ridiculous. But he's been successful. And my point is, I think as small of a store as it looks from the road, I think people in the know, enthusiasts, are very aware of him, and he's like a small destination. It's not a Smoky Mountain Knife Works. Fuck them. I don't want to talk about them. But he's a small guy that people in the know that if they want a custom, vintage, slip joint, 100 years old, or a entire estate collection of those slip joints, or if they want a Benchmade, or if they want one of many other knives, he's a good source. So I don't think he hurts for business by any means. But Stasa, I remember he used to do some in his local knife store stuff where he'd go down and shoot some knives and show some knives. And I just want people to be aware that they're here. And yeah, it's great to have them local. And if I was a case guy, which I'm not, if I like traditionals, they're a major case dealer. So they carry most of the cases they carry the lower brands too, but most of them are $60 to $300 cases. But you can go in there and you can actually check the different ones out to find out which one has the walk and talk you like, if you're into that type of stuff. So there are a lot of advantages to being able to go by there, but there also, I think, are good advantages to just being able to call somebody like, hey, John is a great resource. He's an older guy. He's probably my age. Tate's younger, a little bit more savvy, and I think is more active at Blade Show West, things like that, where John focuses on a lot of the local shows and stuff that he's doing more local promotion. George Steele, EDC, what is going on? Travis Hammond, what is up? What is up, everybody? Y'all are slipping in while I'm going on rants. What I do is I'll sometimes just go off and talk about weird stuff because somebody brought it up. And I don't look at the chat when I'm doing that because I have ADHD and I will go off. It's even worse. Yeah, that's exactly true, Joe. And what's great about John, because he kind of gave me this snicker when I went in there. When I first started going in there, I didn't even have a channel. And then when I started thinking about how much cool stuff that they had that I thought should be shared with the larger people, I said, John, you've got to Google my business that you don't update. You haven't claimed it. I'm happy. I'm a digital marketer by trade. I did it for 15 years, corporate environment. I know a lot of stuff. And I was going to offer my services to him for free. And he just kind of gave me a little smile. And he says, I like the phone. I like to talk to people. He's just not interested in social media, even though they've set up some social media pages. Doesn't even have a website because he likes to connect with people. That's why his clientele are, I think, one of the greatest assets to his business because they're buying knives not just from him but all over and then bringing them to him when they trade. They know he's going to buy them. He's got a Shiro down there now, some other really nice knives that he doesn't have access to from a dealer standpoint, but he buys them. Hey Jesse, what's up? Um, so yeah, a great resource. Really nice people. You see extremes in both makers and retailers, like Smoky Mountain Knife Works versus DLT. Smoky Mountain Knife Works promotes clones, sells in their store. DLT will send you a knife before your first knife got there because you ordered the wrong one and let you send it back. They're not going to put it back in inventory and say, no, can't let. I'm not going to mention the other big ones, but it's the same thing, right? You're going to find good people and bad people. These are good people. So I urge any of you guys that are interested in Benchmades or Protex or just weird stuff to call them, let them put you on a list for things that you might be interested in if it comes in. Paul, those TR3 manual is on my definite wish list. I have the Mordax, I think like you do, and the Malibu. The thumb studs, it's just as smooth. They do the plunge lock better than anyone, in my opinion. But the thumb studs are, I don't like I like the shape of the Mordax better. I actually like the shape of the little Malibus. The shape of the TR3 or whatever it's called is probably my least favorite, but the thumb studs make the difference. The action, the shape of the blade, it's a great knife. And they've got so many to look at. That's the whole thing. And you don't see them like you can go to try to find a Magic Whiskers 3 or Magic Whiskers 2, the big one like I've got that opens off the heel of your hand. I don't think they're in stock really anywhere. I think he's got 3 of them down there. Same thing with, I didn't know that there were 4 variations of the Mini Freak, that they had a full ultimed out one. And I'm sure I'm just not on a lot of different websites lately, looking at retailer sites, going through trolling for knives because I'm not actively buying right now. But yeah, I mean, they've got everything there and they're nice people. So I would love nothing more. I have nothing to gain except for I think they're good people. I want more people to know about them. And hopefully somebody finds a really cool knife. They don't mark their stuff up crazy. It's all just I've done, trying to think what I've bought there. I think I've only bought a Spyderco, and I think that's it. But I've been in there with A to Z EDC. I've been in there with my buddy, who I won't even name him. His name's John, but he's a local buddy who I used to do a lot of pew pew at the range with, and he always carried a Microtech out the front because that's what a lot of the pew pew. And he's a very what would you call it? Tactical shooter. Likes really nice PPUs. What's up, Mad Yako? And he channel Imba, and he didn't have any Chavez's in. He does have the Protect Chavez collab, but currently he did not. He had an Ares that he traded for. He had a Battlefield pickup Hinder. He called me back or texted me today, DM me and said they got another one in. Gorov. They get them all the time. They've got some, they're a Chavez dealer, not Chavez, Chris Reeves dealer, a Medford dealer. They don't carry a lot of Medford. The bulk of what they carry, they're cold steel dealer. The bulk of their collection is in descending from smallest to largest, Microtech, Protech, Benchmade. And the only reason Benchmade's so huge is I've never seen a collection of Benchmades in a store. Hey, Hinder Collector, what's up? Hinder Collector, there are 2 Battlefield pickup Hinders in my city right now. But yeah, so people bring stuff to him because they know that John's going to, give him what it's worth. So very cool store. Y'all don't hesitate to, and I'll have to go back. I'm going to check the description right now. Yeah, hold on. Let me make sure I've got their phone number in there, because I know a lot of people think phone number, especially some of you younger people, you probably don't ever use the phone except to text. But these guys, you can also make phone calls on a phone. And that's how some of us old people used to have to do it. We actually have to put change in. We didn't have mobile phones. It was wild. But anyways, I'm just going off on a tangent. Yeah, the number is in the description of the video I put up the other day. Just call them. They're great people. Ask for Tate or John. There's another guy that works down there. He's very knife savvy. I bumped into him at Nashville a couple of times. What he'll do is he will find like 4 knives that he wants to buy over the years, or like at each show, he wants to buy 4 knives, really, really, really nice knives. With his whole purpose is to enjoy the knife for a couple of weeks and flip it. And he's not looking to rip people's head off. He does make a profit on them, and he talks about that. He doesn't, it's just he trades in knives that are way above what I even look at. And he takes the time to travel to these shows and wait in line and chase these knives. So I'm not going to hate on him. I think Demkos are what he likes the most, but just to buy the special ones. But so anybody that answers the phone up there will be able to help you. Tate is the one who I'm communicating with the most, and John. So yeah, just got something you got a question about, let them know. Sierra Rick, what is up, dude? I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. You're not a mod, so I'm going to make you a mod so you can share links. And when Shane, who I think's out touching grass, doing cool stuff tonight with his friends, he comes in here, he can't put you in timeout just arbitrarily, which is his way of hugging people when he comes in. So if Shane doesn't put you in timeout, he doesn't think much of you. So that's a good thing. But no, it was, I was surprised. I'd never done the first video I shot that wasn't just a top down type of video or a live stream was the Rocket City knife show, which did pretty well. The local store, I didn't think would do as well, because I didn't know what I was to expect from when I took the thumbnail and walked through the door, because they've added so much since I've last been there. But it's performing for me as a video. It's getting a lot of views, a lot of engagements. I've got to go in. I haven't today and answer questions. A lot of people have been asking very pointed questions about specific knives, specific Benchmays. And I just let Tate know today, Tate Estes, one of the guys that's a proprietor down there, to feel free to jump in the comments and answer any of those questions, since he's down there with the knives. He is working tomorrow. He works on Saturdays. I think he takes a day off during the week. They're closed on Sunday, so they're a Monday through Saturday shop, which I respect that all day long. Yeah, and I think if you, I say venture off the beaten path, for me, it was literally turning off a road that it didn't even have, I just literally turned into the parking lot that I drove by for 25 years. And when I walked in there 3 years ago for the first time, they had totally different stuff, because they do carry the cold steel blowguns. They carry crossbows. They carry throwing stars. They carry fantasy knives, right? Gas station knives, as I call them. They carry all that stuff. What's up, Nick? How are you, brother? Good to see you, man. But they also carry super nice stuff. And if you're into traditionals, like antique traditionals, antique switchblades, he's got tons of that stuff. El Cap Addict, the man, the myth, the legend. Channel member, what is up, brother? Broke ass knives, what is up? How are you not a moderator? I just do this so you can share your channel, share your socials, be responsible, because with great power comes great responsibility. We hold you to that. I grant it, I can take it away. But yeah, y'all use your wrenches to share your buddy, like War Room EDC. If you want to share his link, or if y'all want to share somebody who's not in here's link. I know there's somebody that's been getting promoted pretty heavily on Instagram. I'm subbed, and we talked about it 2 Fridays ago. Who is, because my brain doesn't work, but I'll go to Instagram. Screw it. It'll pull up. So if there's somebody that y'all are promoting or group are promoting a channel to try to get them to 1,000 or whatever the case may be, by all means, drop the link. Drop the link. Now, if it's a link that is designed to get me in trouble, I will not only take your wrench, I will come find you. And don't let my size and demeanor fool you, because I'm at the age where I give zero fucks and I don't hold a grudge. I just take care of business. I stand on business. That's kind of a joke, but it's true too. So let's see if I can go down here and see this channel that I've been seeing a lot, and I just can't remember it. That was Elizabeth Hurley. I usually would stop and pause on her, but I don't want to do that tonight because he kind of transfixes me. Have y'all seen that? That is a very cool project of John Rusk, EMP EDC, titanium, aluminum, and ultim. A super thick, full-sized out the front. The Pulse R. Really cool. But anyways, so I don't see the Tenable knives. They're awesome knives. They are Concepts budget line, and I can tell you what I've experienced from them have been knives that are designs that were concept designs that were really popular. I don't know what I think about that. I'm not sharing, so that's not helping you guys. I'm back here on Instagram looking for this freaking post, and I've gone down a rabbit hole. That's one of my things in my squirrel brain, but I came across this from Quiet Carry, and I'm not quite feeling it. I don't like a bird and trout. It's effective looking knife. It probably looks a lot like a Quiet Carry 9, maybe. The bird and trout knife. Yeah, that's probably good for that. It's not my jam. But anyway, promote your friends, promote your neighbors, promote clean links, help each other out. I'm going to get off Instagram. I'm going to come back to y'all. Get out of the rabbit hole. That doesn't surprise me, so I wasn't sharing jack shit. Uh-oh. Trying to click on the link. This is our brother's design. You've seen it on the honey bucket with our friend, said Stevie. And it is an awesome under $70 knife. Look at the junk. But look at that blade. Micarta Nitro V. Stevie loves it. Let's look at the different pictures. Stevie said if y'all don't watch, if you do watch, you saw it, but he says he might not carry it every day, but he handles it at least once a day. Great knife. That one's 66. So they range based on the materials, looks like the handle materials. But Tenable, now that we're here, most of what they were doing, this is one of the first liner locks I've seen because I don't see a lot except what they offer to send me. But like the fin rear in a button lock, I've not seen that, but that's a very popular concept design. It was a little more expensive, but it's $56 in a button lock with 14C and G10. So, and you've just got like the Gideon that we are just looking at. You've got, let's go to some of the more that were concept knives that are now Tenable knives. So think about Civivi Wee, think about let's see, who else? Who am I missing? Civivi Wee. The ones I've tried were the Shard, which I never tried it as a concept, but it was a great budget knife. I gave it away a couple of Saturdays ago. I don't see it. But most of these designs, I love to see that they're working with independent designers, but a lot of them are concept knives that were collaborations that they've just brought to budget steels. Feel great. All of the ones I've experienced, because I did have a cryo, which is a little different because this is has a big hole in the blade. The original cryo does, and it's got a flipper tab. This one's a bar lock, and it's got thumb studs, so it doesn't have that hole, so it doesn't look as much like a cryo, but they do look exactly the same. Less than $60, aluminum, 14C. I can get behind it. And then the other one was a shard. These are fixed blades. I don't see the shard. I'm not going to drag y'all through Tenable link, but y'all share links. Be friends. Be nice to each other. Don't be bullies. Debate, not hate. All that good shit. Come back to y'all. What is up? Andrew Lyons, what is going on, buddy? Good to see you. Louie, what is up? Good to see you, buddy. Let's go look at that. I have to go over here, click on the link. Uh-oh. Then I can share it. Oh, yeah. That's KB. KB knife and Kubi knives. Let me tell you a story. And it doesn't bother me. I still love, if you looked at any of my old videos, when I was buying budget knives, when I was buying knives in general, I was buying all the Kubi titanium knives before KB knives, which is their kind of premier brand, came around. But I cannot get anyone there in their marketing department to even acknowledge me with the email, a DM. They just don't, I know they work with people. And I've sent them videos and stuff, but yeah, they do great work. I've always been a Kubi fan. I'll tell you the thing that solidified it for me, and it's just my thought. Paul Mike, what's up, brother? It's just my thought. Let me get my names right. God, why does his name escape me? Because he lied to people for a long time. Hoback, the Hoback Sumo. When I was early in the community, I remember Lefty was showing on his channel. He loved that knife. That was one of his favorite knives. USA made, allegedly. Now, Kubi has that knife, and they're selling it as a collaboration with Hoback. So when Hoback was selling it, and they're still out there, you can find them on Blade HQ and other sites. But if you look at a USA made Sumo, they were like $640. They went, I think after all the shit hit the fan, they sold for like $400, somewhere around there. Kubi's got it for under $300 KB. And since it came out that they had an overseas Chinese manufacturer, people have told me I'm wrong. But looking at the Kubi version, which we will hear in just 1 second, I think Kubi was making that knife all along. Let's do this. I'll go to their website if not. I love the Arius. That's it right there. So that's a Kubi Sumo. Under $300. Jake was selling them for $600. And if you go to Kubi, just go Kubi Sumo. I never handled one, but I've looked at them a lot. And what I can tell you is the colorways are identical. The only thing that's different is the pivot. So the pivot on Hoback's version was not round. It had a unique shape to the captive side, which anybody could do. But everything else is identical, from the back spacer, which is unique. And this is the Kubi. This is not the Hoback. To the studs, to the hardware, except for the pivot. So if we go over here and go Hoback. I always misspell his name, but I don't care. Sumo. They had to close it out. They've got one for $475. They don't show what they originally listed for. But everything, when I look at these two knives, and I've done this on lives, we've looked at them together. The only difference is the show side pivot. And maybe for the extra $400, they were doing that for Jake. I don't know. But yeah, same CPM. Well, 20 CV. I'm sure it's not CPM 20 CV, but button lock. And I've heard that KB Sumo is an excellent knife. I love the design. I hated the way the news came out that, whatever, knife drama. That was kind of dishonest in my opinion, but whatever. And I can even go on a rant on this. He hid behind putting Bible verses on his shit all over it. And, says, well, I never said all my knives were made in America. Dude, you were selling them at USA Made Blade Works as your dealer. You had them believe that you were making these knives because that's what they sell. So in your apology, don't say stupid shit. What an idiot. Beware of idiots. They exist. What is going on, Fig Diesel? Kresk is in the house. What is up, guys? I've been out of the chat. Let me see if anybody's got any good questions. If they got any good stuff to throw up here. What do we got? I love it when y'all are just communicating with each other. That's good stuff. Ooh. Nice. Nice, Lou. That's awesome, dude. That is awesome. And I hear 4V, and when Kyle gets on here, he'll tell us, I don't think that's a bear to sharpen. I could be wrong. All right, let's see what Nick's sharing. I've got to go back and be able to click on it. Bear with me. Y'all have probably already checked it. And yes, I said already twice on purpose. Oh, yeah, we did check that one out. Yeah, I think that's a very slick knife. Deep hollow grind. I'm going to share it again. We looked at it earlier, but that's when I went off on my kind of tangent about Hobeck and KB's doing really, really high-end knives that don't cost. I would be surprised if this is over $300. It's probably about 260, 270, maybe less. But it is a deep hollow grind, 20 CV. They don't put CPM in front of it. I can respect that because they're making that stuff and they admit it. And everybody else does. It's not it's a recipe. Titanium handle, frame lock. Who's the designer? Designed by Butch. Check it out. Designed by a multimedia designer. Unless they just linked the wrong guy, which I wouldn't think that they would do that. But yeah, I think that's a beauty. I think it's a gorgeous knife. I like it. And I would love to, only because I reach out to companies that I've always bought from, whether it's a retailer or whether it's a brand that I've bought from and enjoy. I don't answer the emails of people saying, I want to check this out, that out. Not if I don't know who you are and you're new. I'm just not the channel for you, right? But I have been reaching out. There's certain companies like Civivi, they don't talk to anybody, which is fine. I just, unfortunately for them and for me, and as far as Civivi content goes on the channel, I'm not actively still buying Civivis. There's a lot of old Civivi content on the channel, but I'd be happy to show them off and talk about them, give you my thoughts. And then Kubi, I can't get in touch with those guys. And then you've got people like Concept and Tenable who are super nice. It all varies because everybody gets different. I probably don't reach out the right way, but it is what it is. It is all good. I think it's a beautiful knife. I just haven't been buying a lot lately. So if I don't trade for it, and I doubt I'll be trading for any Kubis, just don't know when they would make it back in. Hey, buddy, those are two that are just fantastic. Just fantastic. What did I miss? Ed saying, love a turd burglar. Yeah, you got to glove up. And it's not bad to bring a turd knife with you. You never know. You never know. You only need to split a loaf. That would be a new series for Choir Boy Cutlery, Brother Scott to get into. You know, showing he's one of the best, I think, in just cutting stuff, and I think he plays the short game as good as anybody because he has real content in his shorts. I think I'm a big fan of Scott as a person and as a creator, but I think that would be funny if he started, saying, "Yeah, and this is also a great turd knife." Because some of those knives are huge. I mean, he cuts through steel belted tires with those things. Those are beasts. I can tell you that the little T Denny would probably pierce it good, but my little EDC knives are not really hard use knives. Now, I've got some that do both. What's up, Rody? 7420. What is up, brother? Happy Friday, Angry Tom. Good to see you, bud. What else do I have on the table? I just had stuff that was laying around. I'm getting ready to do a video, like long-term video on this. It's a big knife, so I did a video on my favorite Medford for carrying EDC, which is a slim MIDI. The first Medford that I ever bought, the design that spoke to me most and still does is this infraction. If they made it in a slim, that'd be great, but they don't. So I put up with it. It's not a super long knife, but it is just a wonderfully made USA on bearings, or not bearings, on washers, 2 chunks of titanium backspacer, and this one's S35. Hologround, more of a jabber, poker. But I've got that on the table. I've got what I think is my favorite budget knife of all times because it's under $30. I've sharpened it. I've cut so much shit with it. It came to me used. The FRN has full liners, so it doesn't have that squishiness like Benchmade's. Great button lock. Great thumb studs. I can middle finger flick it with my pointer finger that has the saw wound on. Great knife. I've also got a Benchmade bug out because I do think the Benchmade bug out is fantastic. There are better knives out there, but I've got a Spyderco Paramilitary 2 that I'm waiting for AWT scales that I ordered that are going to be weird because they're cobalt blue, and I'm going to use the same hardware, which is kind of bronze, to do a scale swap because Spydercos are kind of tricky. I like doing those on camera. And then Richard Hopkins sent me this little knife that was a Kickstarter. Now it's available. Now you can find the Kaiser Buddy, a little small EDC knife. I think compared to the Kaiser Drop Bear fixed blade, they're different, but I would go with the Drop Bear fixed blade before I went with the Buddy for me personally. But this is kind of reminds me of the Tops Pintail 3, I think is what it's called. And I know there's a reason to have that down pointed blade. I open Amazon boxes. I cut a little bit of paracord sometimes. Lord Needham, what is up, brother? Good to see you, dude. One I still think the best on Instagram that there is. Crazy Roach, what is up, brother? You have a great weekend too, man. I'll be liking your pictures on Instagram. And then I've got one of my favorites. Brother Paul Mills surprised me with this little knife, which is an Aries EDC pedal in glow carbon fiber and glow G10. Fantastic little, just awesome knife. Heat treated, great. Sharpens, great. And then Tactical Theory, aka 1931 Leatherworks, offered to make a sheath so I could kind of show it off for people who are looking at Aries EDC knives. Looking at, we've got so many great leather guys, gals in the community, right? I think Terry's one of those guys. Joe, Lancelot Leather, much love. Terry, much love. But there's just cool stuff out there, guys. And it's horizontal because that's the way, when I sent it to him, the Kydex was and the way I wanted it carried. I'm sure if you wanted it as a pocket dropper, you could get that. Speaking of pocket droppers, one of my bigger EDC fixed blades in an Oak City leather slip. This is sick. One of my favorites. This is the Mag 10 Knife Works out of Maine. EDW. Got 80s carbon fiber. It's got green G10 liners that you can't see because I've got weird lighting going on. And if I'm not mistaken, a BEL blade steel. Not sure, but it's really thin. I mean, this is a wicked Slurpee saver. Leave them leaking, right? Or it's just a great slicer. Very light, super knife. I'm a huge fan. Don't carry it as much because it's a little longer. I'm a 6 to 7 inch guy, and I want to say this is a in what I prefer to carry a knife. I guess I should qualify. This guy, because it's thin, I primarily carry my pocket droppers in my back pocket. This is 7.5 inches, and I don't want to bend it. I don't think I would. I haven't done any lateral strength tests on my knives, nor will I ever, because I use them. I don't necessarily abuse them just for the sake of abusing them. Big Jim, what's up, brother? Oh, dude, that's a pretty knife. They're small knives. Now, the only one I've tried out was his first one, the Midnight EDC, which is a great knife. Did you see Jared's video where he stuck it too far in the sheath? Which I think that's user error, because if I poked this knife down too far, it's coming out the end of the sheath too. But where he stabbed his finger, be careful. I'm sure you're smart enough to put it in there, get it formed, and then not jam it through the bottom. Not that Jared's not, but Jared on film jammed it. Congratulations. Geek Machinist, what is up? That's a great feeling, buddy. That is a great feeling. It's a great feeling to leave on your terms, on your time. And I'm convinced if you don't, eventually you're going to be phased out. I've lived it. I've lived it. I've loved it. I'm in the midst of it now. I'm not mad about it. Is what it is. What's Paul carry almost every day? Let me see what y'all talking about. Crazy Rose, we're talking about. Oh, yeah, the ABW Slippy. I think that's a beautiful little knife. What I carry, and they get a lot of grief, and I switch up my slip joints, and I don't cut with them as much because I'm always carrying a fixie, but which I cut with more than my primary knife. But I love my Jack Wolves. I've got two. I've got the low drag Jack, and then I've got my favorite, which is like y'all's. One side's not as shiny or as pink. The other one is much more pink. That's the nature of fat carbon. That's my go-to slip joint. But again, I don't go to it that often. Even though it's always in my pocket, should it need be. I'm reaching for a little fixie, which I don't have. Do I have a fixie on me today? I don't have a fixie on me today. I do have, I don't know if y'all watched this afternoon, I did a scale swap on my TRM because it had flat scales. The Bulldog, whoops, that was my finger hitting it. It had flat scales when I got it, flat G10 scales, and these are contoured with the black backspacers kind of just part of it. It's in between the liners. I didn't get into that part of it. I just stayed on the outside of the liners. Hunter Orange makes it much softer in hand. I don't know if many people, because I think they only make the contoured G10, but this is an under $250 knife that I think is exceptional. You can get it in Magna Cut, or you can get it in 20 CV, which I've talked to them, and they're a big They believe 20 CV is good for in their purposes as Magna Cut, but you can get either for the same price. Just another choice outside of Benchmade and Spyderco. TRM's smaller, a smaller boutique maker, but they make beautiful cutting instruments, tools. I'm a big fan. I kind of like them too, Paul. This is the one that had the black that I was talking to you about. So to answer the question, which I've still got to get answered, is yes, my titanium scales will fit on this knife. What I do not see and have not seen are when you go look at Bulldog scales, they don't have titanium as an option. You can buy a titanium Bulldog, or you can buy a G10 micarta or Richlight Bulldog, but titanium scales. Now, they came later on the Atoms, on the Neutron, so maybe they'll just offer them at some point. But yeah, the reason, if y'all watch the video, I struggled and I put a thing in the description and nobody watched this to the end. But at the end, I came back and I gave my findings. But when I was trying to get the scale on the side, it was seeming like it was pushing away from the liner. So when I put my body screws in, it would true up. It was fine. So I started flipping it. It would open fine, but when it would close, I would get a little blade bounce and I'd have to push it down. I was like, that's weird. So finished the video, shut it down, and then took the scale off to see what was going on. And this is a Riverlock, which uses an Omega spring or an S spring, however you say those. And you know how an S spring, if you've taken them apart, there's a little hole, or if you get a Kaiser, like 5 holes, because it's adjustable. Vosteed does it too. But you put one little part of that spring in the hole, and the other wraps around the, I call it a stud. It's not a stud. It's the actual bar lock that you're pulling back. But it had popped out. So when I was trying to put the scale on, the S spring was not compressed, which is why I was getting bounced back. I was getting no resistance on one side of the knife. And also it was pushed away from the scale. So as I'm trying to push the scale out, it's like, wait a minute, dude, I'm not pushing the hole. I'm not flat. So if you watch to the end of the video, I'll share my findings on that. I can't flick this because I keep hitting my finger, but really cool knife. I'm a big fan of the TRM Neutron. It was my go-to. This is the exact same length, but it's thicker slightly. Thickest blade stock TRM's put on a folder to date. Kind of cool. That's what I carried. So I carried the TRM and I carried the Jack Wolf, and I don't think I had a fixie on me all day. But we had storms here. It was kind of crappy. Pedro. Vosteed mink is awesome. And I bought a drop point. I bought a Warncliffe when it came out, sheep's foot. Not a Warncliffe, sheep's foot, which is my preferred. I like the sheep's foot better than the drop point, but they're thin, Nitro V, great handles, great size. And I'm a huge fan of you, the designer, and I think one of the owners of Vosteed. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Whoops. I don't know where old Kyle Coonley is. He might be I might have blown him out with the commercials. It might have been too loud, or he may be, he comes around when he can, when he's up for it. But everybody does their own stuff too. I respect it. But he usually jumps in after a while before we go over to Stevie's. Sid Factions tonight, by the way, at 11:15 Central, which is, I'm not going to do the math conversion. Geek Machinist, that's awesome. See, 154 CM is one of my favorite steels. I was a huge Finch. I still got a huge Finch. Scott, this is our Finch collection. This is a Vaporesso. I've had several of these old ones that after a while they quit charging. This is the basic Vaporesso, uses the same pod. It's a nicotine salt pod system thing. And this is one that's just got an adjustable. It's got 3 adjustments, but I needed a fresh battery. So it's Vaporesso. And they make little square ones. They make tall ones. Hey, there's Kyle Coonley. Kyle Coonley, thumbs up me if you want to come up, buddy, or if you're still getting your stuff together.
I'm good, man. How are you? Can you hear me? Okay.
Can I hear you?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
I hear you quietly. Oh, that's because I got this turned down. Hold on. Let me turn it back up. Talk now.
Hey.
It's amazing. Yeah. I'm sure everybody could hear you. Tell me this. Were you here when the commercial went off at the beginning?
No, I just got here.
I need to go back and watch it. Nobody's answered me if it blew their ears out, but there's very few people that are here when it starts. Scott, the disposables, I get it. My daughter, I talked to her, FaceTimed her for like 2 hours last night. And she's always got one of those bars. I forget what it's called, but she loves it. I was like, Brittany, next time you're in town, we'll go to Kicking My Habits. You tell them the flavor profile. You get a bottle of juice. And to me, it's a lot more economical. Because I would go through, I'm thinking those disposables are probably like a pack of cigarettes a day's worth, maybe 2 if you use it moderately. How's Kyle?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
Dude, I'm doing great for a Friday. I'll tell you a funny storm story that will really gator fuck you if you don't have a door and a window and you're driving. Kyle bought another Moorish. I'm getting close to sending you one to sharpen. What's a Moorish?
Yeah, I've heard that from months, Paul.
What is it? What is it?
It's a custom knife. I'm just giving him a hard time.
Oh, I know you're giving him a hard time. So if I go to Instagram and type in Moorish.
Yeah. What's up, Sierra? What's up, Mills? Ellis, Marco, Shady, El Cap. Who else did I miss? That's
Paul
it.
Mike?
Yeah, I'm Paulie.
Well, I forget. You might be intentionally missing people. Just
Richard.
throw shade at them. I don't want to take that away from you.
No.
All right. Does this look like them? No post yet.
Moorish Made.
Morris Made.
Morrish HMADE. What's up, Crest?
So I was trying to send Dark Gravity down to my local knife shop to look at that Battlefield pickup hinder. I got a DM today to hear like we got another one in. Tell your buddy when he comes down here that they're 2.
What's up, Jesse? That was too much money for our Battlefield, though.
How much was it? I couldn't tell.
I can't remember. I paused
the video. Or was it more than 6?
No, it was like 11.
It was 11. Okay, that's what I thought. But he told me something about that particular one that it wasn't just and tell me if he was wrong or if I'm wrong. That this one had a number etched in it. So this was, I think, more than just a regular. All of them do? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he might just have that on the box. The one thing about those guys, they can't really say it. I can't say it on videos. Just talk to them. Tell them, table price. They know what that means.
Yeah. I mean, I think table on those is like 8 or 850. So that was pretty steep.
Keep in mind, I don't know if that one was a consignment or if that was a
no, that's fine. I just meant that as far as what the actual.
Yeah, because Dark Gravity's thinking he's not ready to bite off 6, but that's kind of what he thought that they were running.
These 6 would be a good deal.
Knives.
What's up, Ellis? I thought I said your name. Quit whining. Hey, Louie. What's up, Andrew? How you doing, buddy?
Andrew's been in here all night, hanging out. Thank you, Andrew. Andrew, dude, for the boys and Kyle. How do I make that? Where is that? Let me make that comment show up. Because he's giving Kyle love, too.
I just clicked it. Oop, you clicked it off when I clicked it.
I forget. Clear it. I'm going to click it. There you go. I'm going to give him a quick man hug. And this is where you have to tell me if it's quiet because I'm turning it way down. So I'm thinking that was too quiet, the way it comes through my headphones.
That was still very loud.
Thank you, buddy. And of course, I forgot to turn it back up, so I only heard you go.
That was very loud still.
Really?
Yeah.
God, what? I've got to figure something out.
You got something in your interface that's going on as far as
Well, it's that a novice and I've not gotten into how to actually work it. I just routed it the way that the setup wizard told me to. It is a very awkward hug.
But aren't you
The
using
reason
like a Focusrite or something?
what's that? It's a Rode Duo Rodecaster Duo. It's a really nice one, and it does more than I probably need it to do. But yeah, it's I've got to fix that out. For a long time, my effects wouldn't show sound at all. So I do an effect and nobody would hear it. Tell me if you hear this and if it's too loud.
That's a reasonable level.
Yeah, and see what's weird is I pot that back because that's an internal sound off the board, and then the others all sounds coming from the computer from the main mix. So like when I turn it down to play the commercial, I'm thinking because in my headphones it's super quiet, and then I forget to turn it back up and I can't hear you. Now I'm sure the audience can hear you, so I've got to figure out how routing works.
There should be a separate channel to run the separate volumes for your mic and for your headphones.
There is. Now, there's a button I can push to get, and yeah, I'm not going to get into mix minus, mix plus, and just being able to like listen to what the external, what the, I guess you'd call it the broadcast sound levels are to people outside. Because I don't do it. I do the simple form of podcasting where I don't do what they call multi-track because I never go back in and adjust people's settings. I don't have a lot of guests and stuff like that, but that should work. I shouldn't be blowing people out with a commercial that to me doesn't sound that loud. El Cap, I'm going to use them if they're loud. See, I've got one that just is a silent one. We'll just keep that one in when somebody says something stupid. The only one that I'll really miss
go ahead.
Is this one.
You can call me Nanner Pussy.
Was that real loud?
Yeah.
See, I pulled it down to almost, I've got to figure something out. That sucks. Anyway, no more sounds for a while, guys. And I bet the screaming ladies, when I show them, I bet that was torturous.
It's horrific.
Oh, I can only imagine because it's horrific when it's quiet.
You were completely wrong, Yoko. New cars smell fantastic. But I actually smell much better than that because I have cologne on.
Yeah, Andrew, I'm staying away from those till I figure it out. But again, it's just a matter of me opening the online manual because it's really user-friendly and learning. Just like I promised in the YouTube group that I need to learn how to use YouTube. I don't use it right. I don't put like the music that I use. I found out after the fact that it's automatically done because I don't use YouTube's music. I use a service called Epidemic Sound.
Right.
I pay an annual rate and I can use their sound effects in their sound, but it automatically puts the licensing in my descriptions. And Kyle, I had 11 copyright violations Tuesday night from our little video run, but I just clear them out. See, all I have to do is go in and trim them out. And then it lifts all the restrictions. They're not putting a strike on my channel. They're just taking the revenue to go to the original creator, as they should, as it were.
Yoko, I know, buddy. It's all good. Marco, no.
I don't get to smell it often either, but that brings me back to driving through a tornado without a window in traffic that has stopped in the city. I just made a quick errand down to the vape store, and I was going to go before the storm. So I got out, zipping along. Traffic stopped because it was 3:00. School was getting out. The way I go, I put myself in the traffic. Well, then it started raining. First it was fine because I'm sitting still. Rain's falling kind of straight. Then it starts blowing one way. Then it starts blowing another way. Then hail starts coming. Then, dude, it blows like I went through a car wash with my window down, and then it stops, and then it's beating the other side of my car. Debris going everywhere, and transformers are blowing off as I'm sitting there stopped. I don't see a funnel or anything, but it was wild, dude. I've never gotten so wet.
I wish you had a dash cam because that would have been
epic.
amazing.
Or it would have gone out. I got home, dude. I tried to plug in my iPhone to charge it. It said, can't charge right now. Your iPhone water's detected. And it was like in my back pocket.
Oh, damn.
I mean, when I came in, dude, my clothes are in my washing machine right now. I need to put them in the dryer when I get through with this. because they were just soaking wet. I mean, literally, I was soaked.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was insane, dude. It was insane. I've got to get back on the Geico body shop plan. I've just been just ostriching it, putting my head in the sand.
By the time that you get your door, the car is going to be dead.
But that's the perfect timing because that's when I'm going to be ready to get out of it anyway. But I've been paying, $600 a month to drive a car with 3 doors. That sucks.
Yeah, that does suck.
Yeah. So what's been going on in your world sharpening, dude? Any cool miles? I mean, I know they come in and go out, so you don't have them to.
Yeah, I finished all that batch for Brian. That went out early for this week, and then started to work on a couple for Shane. And then I had a couple just kind of off days. I took a break for a little bit, and then I'm gonna get back at it this weekend. So
I would think you would not only get emotionally or mentally burned out, but you need muscle rest too, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, after a while, it hurts your neck looking down constantly doing that. So it's good to take a little bit of a break.
Yeah. Did you like my text about what I'm learning from Dr. Laren Thomas?
Yeah, I replied back what the your take was.
Exactly. But it's just like it reminds me of when I was in college or in high school for that matter. It wouldn't matter what subject it was. It's part of my condition, but I could be reading, just going, man, I'm reading through all this stuff. Ian Coates, what is up, brother? Big hug to you. I hope to see you at Blade Show, my man. But what was I saying, Kyle?
You're talking about Laren.
Oh yeah. So just like with anything else, I'll be reading and then I'll stop myself in my brain. I'm like, what did I just read? I've read like 10 pages and I'm looking at the pictures and we're talking about now steel composition and I have to go back and start again. Cause literally, I was just zooming through it where you would think I was vibing to it, but not retaining it, I guess, or not processing it. Plus it's, to me, like you said before I got it, it's a high level read, right?
Well, I mean, and unless you're putting it into application, a lot of people aren't going to grasp it.
No, but what I've learned from it, on the surface, is there's so many variables that absolutes really don't exist if you're just talking about a steel and a use case, because there's so many more things like geometry, like heat treat, like you know.
That goes back to my original thesis of I respect him, but I wish he had less variables in his testing to make some of the charts more accurate.
Because I don't understand. I can understand because they call it a different test, elasticity, and then the side load. So I guess a side load, the practical use of that is when you're wedging something or batoning it and you're having to try to wedge it out of the wood. At what point is it going to fail, right? Or not spring back to its original form?
Yeah, there's that, but there's also side load when anything, if you're doing whittling or if you're doing feather sticking or any of that type, you're putting side load on it. Or if you're cutting through cardboard and you try to make a sharp turn, you can put side load on something. I mean, it depends on what you're using it for.
But that brings us back to the other variables, right? It depends also on the edge geometry, on the heat treat, not just on the steel.
On the grind?
On the grind, yeah. That's another one.
On the bevel?
MPC, MPG, EDC. I'm sorry. I throw letters around like I throw words recklessly. I apologize.
What's
Sorry,
up,
Kyle.
Terry? What's up, Meredith? So, yeah, I mean, there are a lot of variables, but trying to isolate as many as you can to have a definitive chart is more difficult than people would think.
Yeah, it's funny when I used to always go back to Blade HQs, and that's before I realized that 30% of their specs were wrong, 35% maybe, are just copied wrong. But they had, I guess, digested it because I've never seen those charts in any other form. It seems like they piled Laren's data into something and had those charts come out, but they weren't even very accurate, were they? The way they showed the different.
They tried, but nothing is solidified. So even like the church you see off of Lifestyle Nerds, that's not the gospel. That's a starting point, and that's where people get confused.
Right, but I don't know how, unless somebody went into it with a idea or an agenda. The text, the way he presents that material is not definitive. It's just, to me, it's like these are a lot of things to think about when you're talking about the knife, the best use case for the knife, and how, because I guess it's made for makers, right? I mean, that's the audience.
Yeah, I mean, avid enthusiasts and makers and anyone in that field. But yeah, the presence of that data does not equate to overall certainty, and that I think that's where people get mixed up in the data. Is they think, oh well, this is that, so everything is going to be per this. So I mean, there are people who put that data into spreadsheets and try to compare and contrast with other ones. It's like, you're not comparing apples to apples. So
no, I mean, I think, like you said, it is a good starting point, and it's a way to confuse people like me. But if I read it, because it would take me, and I'll read it several times just to pull the little bits of things that I want to be able to be comfortably talking about. Like if I'm looking at a knife battle and I'm looking at 3V and AEBL, I don't know without looking at a chart which one's tougher, like on the toughness scale. I would think 3V is, but I don't know that. And I know that, for example, a thin Kaiser harpoon that has a very thin blade stock might not be as tough if 3V is a lot tougher than AEBL, if AEBL has thicker stock and a thicker grind, right? I mean, there's so many variables besides just what's in there.
Yeah, going back to that though, but no, 3V is not a lot tougher than AEBL. Actually, AEBL is probably the same, if not a slight bit higher. But yeah, I mean, when you get into toughness like that, you're definitely taking into account geometry, blade stock, and all types of things. Andrew, great point. No, the first one you wrote.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, that's like having someone trying to calculate their dope without having any idea on speed using a chronograph or bullet weight or any ballistic information.
And that's not being derogatory to the people who read the data and can't really comprehend it, because I fall into that category, as I think
Absolutely
most
not.
enthusiasts do, if you don't
Right.
have a science background. And
you-
that would probably screw you up even more.
Or if you've not dug deep into it to the point where you've sought out that information or had hands-on training or experience. Because like that analogy I just made with him is, most people would never know that information I just talked about, but people who are actually avid long range know that stuff. So
right,
it's just a matter of getting
the right load,
acclimated to that information and having someone who knows what they're doing teach you.
Hey, Paul, beautiful knife, but I love stories of not persistence overcoming resistance, but you being able to control your emotions and not pull the trigger and look at the big picture. Congratulations on not getting that Strider, even though it's probably awesome. But that's the way, when I finally make that video, because it took me so many years to learn, not having the fear of missing out, or not just buying something because it's awesome and it catches your eye. I mean, I have to kind of be looking for it now, but by doing what Paul did and said, that's going to take out of what I'm working for my blessed knives, makes all the sense in the world. I wish I'd done that sooner. You all are babies. I wish I was 33. That is Kyle Coonley in my account. I wish I could make a face for you or your dog. Your dog logo is my favorite, but it's the hardest to read. I think it's the one that's got the best brand recognition, maybe.
I've got like 6 different versions.
Yeah, I mean, all your logos are great. The reason I use the dog, and I didn't this week, I don't think, but the reason I use the dog the most is it's the one that allowed me to take the background out easiest. With the
Gotcha.
others wanted to get into your text, but they're all great logos. Who did those for you? Did you do those?
No, backpack.
He's the man. His knife designs are sick. Have you seen the stuff he's been putting out in CAD form or whatever he's drawing with?
Yep. Those are all
Amazing.
sketches. That's not even in CAD. That's just 2D renders.
Is it somebody's birthday? Is it Meredith's birthday? Or is today she 33? Or was she just saying? I think she was just asking ages. But you need to come in here and announce if it's your birthday. We'll sing. I'll sing to you. Behind the Edge is also selling a Strider.
Okay, what's the double gunner going for? Andrew, don't you lie like that.
Did I tell my story yet about my local knife guy and why he doesn't carry Strider and why he thinks Mick Strider's the worst motherfucker that ever walked the earth? It has nothing to do with what most people think.
Because he's uninformed or poorly informed?
No, he just he was at a show many years ago when he was bringing stuff into his showroom, and he was a Benchmade Premier dealer. And he went to the table, and Mick was there, and he was handling his Strider. He said he told me, I never really liked the look, but my customers always asked about it. But it was $600. Maybe it was $400 at the time.
I thought he was going into the backstory of
No.
Mick.
He said,
never mind. That's fine.
He was holding the knife, and it was just him and Rick. He said, or Mick, it wasn't a lot of people there. And he said, hey, I sell Benchmates. How do I tell my customer and justify the price difference in this knife? Now, you can look at both knives and tell that there's a price difference, but he wanted, I think, Mick's elevator pitch. He wasn't being derogatory. He was just like, how do you position them, to bring what you're asking for them? And Mick didn't say a word, gave him a cold eye, reached across the table, took the knife out of his hand, put it back on the table, and walked away from him without saying a word.
That's kind of a dick move.
He said it was the worst dick move. And we've talked about people. He said, y'all know who Dwayne Dwyer? Is that a name? I got the wrong name.
No, that's right. Dwayne.
Was he part of that?
Yeah, they were partners.
He hates him for a totally different reason. But I could think he's been around to know that and he was saying there's so many good people in the knife industry, makers, that give you the shirt off their back. But some that, it's just one experience. But I think Mick missed an opportunity. He might have taken it as somebody being sarcastic or a hater, a troll or something, right?
Very well. Oh,
I'm not deep enough in the lore or haven't bought enough to know. Which one's still with Strider knives? Is that Mick? Because I usually see the lady showing them on Instagram. I think that's his wife. Is that right?
Well, Mick does the customs only now.
Okay, so
but his name, the Strider name, is still under his branch, under his company. That's done by, I don't know if it's his wife or who he's got running that part of the business, but he's just making customs.
The really, really exquisite ones with the wicked grinds and stuff like that, those nightmares.
Yeah. Did you watch that movie, by the way?
Not yet. I found it. I bookmarked it. I am going to watch it. And I'm going to come in here and drop mad quotes. Because I know I'll like it. And I feel guilty knowing that I'm going to like it.
Why would you feel guilty?
Just, it's just it probably wouldn't play the same today, right? I say that jokingly. It's not going to make me feel guilty, but it
does. If someone else doesn't like it, tough shit.
All right, that's true. It's humor. I'm doing great, girl. Fridays are my favorite days. I get stoked. It's been raining here. Good part of the day. Went through a little trials and tribulations, but came out wet on the other side, and it's all good now. How are you, sweetheart?
It stormed on and off all day today.
I haven't seen hail in a long time, and I would say it was bouncing off my hood, but I picked a piece out of my crotch that was probably dime sized, which is not big hail for people who live in the Midwest or places where
You sure that was hail?
it was major hail. Yeah, because it was hitting all around. Yeah, it wasn't one of my ice rocks. Smart ass. Speaking of, I forgot to call Fed Harrison back. He called me. I usually take my sleeps usually happen between 3 p.m. and 7 p.m. That's kind of my weird schedule. I have Andrew, and my favorite part of that is when Jack Black's character, his drugs get taken away. Was it a bat? What took his drugs? Am I thinking about the right movie?
I forget.
Yeah,
That's
I
a
know it
classic
had
movie, though,
Robert
too.
Downey Jr. in it. But yeah, that Jack Black
Yep.
coming off drugs and then getting to the very end and finding the heroin guys. I thought that was great. Yeah, it was a bat. You know what I've heard is a good movie, and I would never go see it because I'd never played the game, but Minecraft. Have y'all been seeing the like social media posts about that? Jack Black and that guy, Tribe of Gypsies. What's his name? The knife dude that was in Aquaman.
No, that's mind numbing. The game, and I can't believe that
The movie's evidently really funny though, and that's what. Yeah, Jason Momoa.
What's up, Nick Martino? Haven't seen you in around a while.
Nick. There's Nick. There's Nick. Fed. What is up, brother? Hey, Fed, I was just talking about you, buddy. I was
What's up,
snoozing when you called, and I meant to text you when I woke up to see if you're still up. And I want to talk to you. So call me after tonight, after said faction, if you're up, or let me know a time to call you tomorrow, my brother. Talk about some Blade Show, pre-Blade Show stuff. Thank you, man. I'm gonna put up my I'm gonna turn it down. I'm gonna try to see what happens if I turn it almost all the way down. Now I'm gonna put up my hug for my brother Fed for renewing his membership. That's brutally loud.
Yes.
I can barely hear it in my headphones.
Yeah, that's not changing at all. Your volume.
Oh, so what I'm doing is not changing it.
Correct.
All right. I'm gonna have to get a kazoo, guys. If y'all keep being generous, I'll have to get a kazoo, or I'll have to drag my electric guitar over here, and that'll never work. I thought about ripping, but
you have to get a new co-host too.
What? Yeah, no doubt. That would be too much punishment for all parties concerned. So no, that's not happening anytime soon. Hey, did Bees go live tonight? I noticed he went live last night, and I figured he would go live tonight too.
Don't know.
There was a May 1st Kaiser thing last night that they did on May 1st. I'm not going to show YouTube videos. I had some. Yeah, he's live. So yeah, there were some I wanted to show, but gosh, they just hammer you. I mean, and it's the ones that you wouldn't expect, like just showing educational stuff. And it doesn't matter if I'm talking through it, because once they've put that little check on there, you've got to go and fight it and say I was being it's just not worth it. Just trim it out. But yeah, all of our good wrestling content that drove everybody away, I had to clip out. That was all claimed.
Oh well.
It's life.
It was worth it.
It was worth it, dude. I dreamed, as a matter of fact, like sometime last week about making that lateral drop. That thing haunts me. That would have been my last match. No, I went into Constellation after that. So like my third to the last match I wrestled was the failed lateral drop, dude. That's something that will just follow you to your grave. You just play it back in your head. And we were talking less than a second.
The worst is for punishments. What we used to do is we used to get the ring of death. Did you ever have to do that?
The what?
The ring of death.
Oh God.
So like if you got in trouble, instead of doing, well, you'd have to do more PT as well, but you would have to run through the line and you had a minute you had to wrestle everyone from the beginning to the top of your lineup for 1 minute.
Exactly. Going down the line.
Yeah. I mean, starting at, sub 100 all the way up to heavyweight. No matter what your weight was, you had to wrestle every single person on your team for a minute.
Ed, I'm sorry I missed you, buddy. You know what I want to talk to you about? So just before Blade Show, buddy, when you get back, text me because I'll forget. I just need to know if I need to make if I need to do some what's the word I'm looking for? Door kicking in. So you just call me when you get back, dude. I love you, Fed.
Okay. Yeah, I got you, bud.
So what's the coolest thing that you've sharpened lately, Kyle? I mean, knife-wise that you see? Because I know you carry what you carry. Yeah, good luck, Ed.
I had, I think, Rosie XL. I had.
Did you like it better than the regular Rosie?
Most definitely.
I did not, but and they both fit my hand fine, but I like my PM2 much better than a PM3, but the Rosie XL just seemed like there needed to be a size between the Rosie and the Rosie XL.
I didn't think the XL was that big.
You didn't think it was?
No.
It was for me.
I mean, I thought it was a normal, full-size knife, but I didn't think it was, like, outrageous by any means.
Well, I had A to Z's to review, and I had his regular Rosie, and when you lay them out side by side size comparison, there's definitely, just like an Arius and a mini Arius, there's like a space that the sweet spot's right between them.
Yeah.
Andrew, and my buddy had to buy his. I think he bought one from Brother Paul, but you just got to be persistent every Sunday night, right? Not XLs. I know they don't come out as much.
I did. What else have I done recently? I
am Ant. This is my goat plaque, which is an inside joke that means geriatric, old and tired.
The couple hinders, booze smoke.
Yeah, that warms me up. I'm sorry it took so long, brother, but good.
A Mojave. Let's see. Look at my list that I've just done. Mini areas, full-size carbon areas, a Zon, a Benza, both those are Tantos. I did a mini areas, stuff like that. A protein.
What did you do the mini areas to? I know I asked you this. I don't think I wrote it down.
20. I did a Richmond custom, a Giroux custom, an FSD. I did a Hawk deadlock.
Wow, dude, those are bangers.
Oh yeah, and I did Bob's dagger. Bob DeMarco. He had a Civivi dagger that was a single edge, and he hated it and wanted it turned into a dual edge. So I did that for him.
How'd that work out? I love Bob DeMarco. That's a nice guy.
Yeah, good. He likes it. He loved it. He showed it off last night. Todd, I don't know if you've got it handy, or you or Marco, would you throw up the website link? So that way, because it's got my email address on there for Meredith.
Oh, for yours?
Yeah.
I got it.
Oh, you got the website address?
Yeah, I was going to it. Hold on.
Okay. Nick, I have not, but I want to. I really like the look of them.
Which one's that? I'm not reading it.
The NCC. What's up, Ant? Who else did I miss? I said hi to Fed. Roman, what's going on, buddy?
All right, dude, I'm gonna have to help you with your SEO on your website.
There you go. Marco's got it.
It does he already? Well, damn it. I'm looking for it. You don't have it in your description on your Insta. It doesn't pull up on Google.
No, because it's not a direct landing page or website. It's a freebie through Adobe.
Right. But if you can still index it.
I know. I just haven't spent the time to do it because I'm not pushing it.
I got you. And you don't want people on Instagram to, do you have to approve them when they follow you?
No, I'm public for the business side.
Sharpening?
Yeah, the business side, I'm public, but
I would just add in your description that little bit of information, how to get in touch with you, blah, blah, blah. Because so many people use it, right?
Yeah, a lot of, my preference is through DM just because it's easy to track. But if someone doesn't have Instagram, then that's why I created that landing page just for email.
Right.
And I also can email your spec sheet when you're done as well too. So
yeah, it's good to have. And I can see why you wouldn't want an index necessarily.
I just don't prefer to. I'm not trying to.
Hey Todd, Kyle, did the not to interrupt you, but I'll forget, and I did interrupt you, so I'm sorry. Did you get the tripper?
I have not yet.
All right. Posted one that he reground today. Todd, bear with me on the tripper, buddy.
That's all right. I think I've got everything else, Todd, but I'm waiting on the tripper.
And I didn't mean to interrupt you on that, dude. You were talking about something totally different. I saw Todd's comment and it made my brain go there. Sorry.
No, I'm not trying to outgrow, so I'm not really pushing SEO or any of that kind of stuff right now because there's only so many hours in a day, and I don't want to.
You don't want to overrun yourself.
Right, because I've said it before, and I don't mean to beat a dead horse, but I like to under promise and over deliver, and I like to keep my times short. So I don't want to make people wait for hanging on to their stuff.
Right. I know, man. I'm sorry, dude. I'll fall out of line every now and then and get in the wrong lane. But I do like budget knives very much. And my whole love of collecting and getting into the knife community was Civivis, Kershaw's, budget knives. Now, I don't carry them as much anymore. Just because I've, it's kind of a disease, I guess, kind of like an addiction. But yes, I like them very much. And this is my favorite under $30 knife that you can get, full steel liner. So even though it's FRN, it doesn't feel squishy like a bug out. The little CJRB Pyrite light. But there's so many great ones from Tenable. The VV and Kershaw were my main brands that I bought that I consumed weekly.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you go ahead.
I just was going to put a question up when you're done talking. That's all.
It is an addiction. It's not kind of like an addiction. For me, it was. I think I saw them. Did you get it at White Mountain Knives? Is that where I saw pickled steel? I Google it.
All right. While you're Googling that, I'm going to go up here and answer your question.
You do that.
Andrew, that list is pretty accurate. I don't have one per se drawn out like that, but yeah, that's pretty easy to follow along. And it actually, a good thing is that one has bookmarks for you can scroll to, or not bookmarks, I'm sorry, timestamps that you can scroll to check. But yeah, I would say it's accurate to use as a guide.
Interesting. Yeah, South African stuff. What I don't understand, and this is South African, but it's a little different. I got a company that reached out to me and sent me a knife that I'm super, super impressed with. It's not a knife that I use on the daily, but for a camp knife or a bushcrafting knife, it's probably excellent. But it's assembled 100% in Maryland, and it is, or Boston, Massachusetts. I'm sorry, suburbs of Boston, but with parts that are U.S., Japanese, and South African. So what I'm wondering is just G10 and LMAX. So the LMAX, or he said Europe. So the LMAX, I guess, is not a U.S. steel, or is it?
LMAX is not. It's Bowler.
Okay. So, and maybe the G10 comes from South Africa, and maybe they just put it together with the hardware. But it's a beefy knife with South African something. I'm guessing it's the G10. But that grind there, which I don't know what it does, it's called a Fibonacci grind. And if you Google Fibonacci and you want to make your brain hurt, it comes up with something called the Fibonacci sequence, which makes English and psychology people like me's brains hurt. Some mathematical equations, sequences of numbers and shit. Kelly White in the U.S. That's okay. Gotcha.
I'm going to highlight something for Fed Harrison. Oop.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's awesome, Terry. Which one? This one right here?
No, this, my response meet. There you go. That one. So Fed, if you can hear that, look at this. Look at that message out. We'll
That's
catch up
not
after.
me, Fed. That's Kyle using my likeness. I'm recording each one of these and screen clapping them because I'm gonna bring. I didn't give him permission to use my likeness. But anyway, go ahead.
No, I'll talk to you after the stream, Fed. I'll get you up to date.
I can't wait till the Orlock got out. Guys, I don't know if y'all have had a chance, but I did a review that Terry sent me, a prototype of a knife that Concept, I think it was Concept. I'm almost positive it's Concept that's doing it with him. And it is unique. It is a great operating knife, and it's just a banger. Can't find it online, but I can show you a thumbnail of it. Do this. Talk amongst yourselves as I got another monitor, and it doesn't help in my not being able to follow the chat because my brain, even though I've got the ability to do it on different screens, I can only do one thing at a time, and I don't do that well, so I apologize.
Terry, you're in luck. Meredith has small hands.
So here is.
Hello, Neil. Ed, then I'll send you a message right now so you can look at it.
Yeah, it's probably leaving crack of dawn, right?
Yeah, give me a second. I'm gonna be typing something to him, so I'll be away.
Go ahead. I'm just gonna show this knife after this ad. This knife is Terry's design. You're gonna make me see another ad? Today I want to talk about a prototype that came into me that was designed by a community member, not a knife reviewer per se, but Tactical Terry, 1931 leatherwork. I think the harpoon, the tall flat ground blade, the liner lock, titanium contoured handles, that is a beautiful, beautiful knife. So we're going to go on a little further. I don't want to hear myself talk. Fantastic designer, fantastic craftsman. This knife, because the choil fits perfectly into my hand and the harpoon fits perfectly where my thumb hits, this knife fits me like a glove. It's got contoured titanium handles, steel lock bar insert, S35 VM blade, titanium pocket clip,
and a titanium backspacer. Now, a lot of people might say,
I think it's sexy, dude. Have you gotten any more information on when they might? I know that they have them all in lines and they put them out at different times. What's up, Bama fan? Anybody else I'm missing?
All right, Fed, I sent you a message, buddy.
That is much more impressive, Ant, but that shows you my limited brain capacity of even being able to deduce it past the simplicity of it just being numbers and me going, holy fuck, I got to turn away.
Numbers drive the world, buddy.
I know. Believe me. And the funny thing is, I was a guy who stood up in college or high school and college algebra and said, I'm never going to need this shit in real life. They're computers for this. I was wrong.
Well, I mean, it's nice to be able to do both, but
not if your brain doesn't work that way. People who have
no, I'm saying it's nice to have the backup if you didn't.
Right. Now, I could do algebra, and I'm sure if I took more advanced classes, if I was able to refer to the formula, like not have to memorize a formula and then apply it, I could do much better. So I could take a formula and plug in the question how it was posed to me and come up probably with 70% of the time the right answer. But if I'm having to remember the formula and then use it in a test, I'm done. My brain's not going to remember it. Now, the Canterbury Tales in Old English, I memorized that in 12th grade and I can't forget it. It's still taking up space.
And aren't you a I won't call out what you do, but isn't your job related around math?
Where was Ant's come?
He said math's made up. I know he's being sarcastic, but
oddly enough, that was my granddad's I guess college major before he got into rocket science or however they did that. Maybe he was just plucked for that. Yes, Kyle. I absolutely hold a level of respect equal or greater to the respect that I hold for people who can make stuff happen, like build things and create things. I think people who can understand and talk about the importance of equations and how they, can be utilized and harnessed. I mean, to me, that's just my brain doesn't work that way. I read shit. I regurgitate shit. I'm a relationship guy. I'm very simple.
else that adds up.
That'll be awesome, dude. That
Heck
would
yeah,
be
Terry.
awesome.
Good for you, buddy.
It's got to be math. It's got to be answer that, Ed. Or was it geometry? I know, because I can remember word problems that made my head hurt that had to do with bridges and the weight of the thing going over the bridge and how far the bridge spanned. I found relationships much harder than math problems. 100%. I agree with that. And I think that breaks down to two things: communication, and sometimes you just pick the wrong one for you. Maybe not for everybody, but just for you.
Well, there's no solution to it.
Communication is the best way to, because I think if you look at it, it makes sense that when you marry somebody, let's say you're 30, 20, whatever, you're a certain age, you're a certain point in life, and then you're both going to continue to grow and, mature in your life journey. And you've got to have communication and understanding of what the other person's needs are, what they're dealing with. I wasn't good at that. At the time, I was in active addiction and undiagnosed with, ADHD, so I wasn't very good at listening.
Well, it's a commitment that most people aren't willing to stick to long term, which is unfortunate.
It's very unfortunate because the whole point of, to me at least, I went into it thinking for better, for worse. I was, hindsight being 2020, I didn't have a beautiful daughter, had I been sober, I probably would have never been in that relationship, but everything happens for a reason. Don't regret it, but I would have held on to it is dysfunctional. It wasn't, it was just a roommate situation as much as anything else. It just had evolved into that, being parents, having a kid grow up, get ready to leave. It's just your life where you picture yourself changes, right?
Yeah, but the problem is that it's never meant to be easy. It's always going to be work, and whether people actually
Correct.
want to put that in or not.
Correct. And what is, divorce lawyers have made it easier.
No, the laws have made it worse because of it's so skewed.
Yeah. It's very skewed, but I've always liked the joke of why they're so expensive, because they're worth it. And that's the best thing, Meredith. And you guys just continue to have that connection. The connection, the communication, I think, are the hugest parts of a long, successful marriage. And I think there are a lot, like I look at my parents' generation or my grandparents' generation. My parents aren't a good example, but they would suck it up because that's the way it was. You didn't do that. You'd made that vow, you'd made that commitment. You knew the times were going to get tough, and you worked through them. Now, if you're talking about,
it was bigger than just you.
Correct. It was a vow to God.
Well, not only that, but I'm saying it was about the whole. It wasn't just about you and your feelings. It was about the nuclear family and your partner.
Absolutely worth it, Sierra Track. In my opinion, that's a great price for those scales. I've got two. I've got one that has titanium scales and one that has carbon fiber. And I think scale swaps are the best way to fix that mini bug out. My mini bug out was a regular S30V, and it is wearing my Carta Mexican blanket sharp dress scales. But scales are easy to put on, and they can really make a knife. Titanium on a bug out feels great. Feels absolutely great if you like titanium. Some people like lighter knives. I like light knives too, so it's kind of weird. Congratulations, War Room. And you'll make it, dude. Nick, you'll make it. I was at 20. And what had happened, again, I was in active addiction. She was kind of too, but we've gone from being a couple to being young parents, or not young, but being parents, to kind of throwing everything into our daughter and not spending as much time on us and what we were going through and dealing with. It wasn't like we weren't talking, but it was all focused. Brand New American gifted a membership. Dude, thank you. I'm going to give you a super quick hug because it's going to drive everybody freaking crazy. But I love you, dude. Thank you. They didn't have. There's a quick one. But let me find out who got that membership, because tomorrow at 11 o'clock, hope you guys can stop by, because we will have a short members live, about an hour, a little less. You do not have to be there to win. Spook Doozle got the membership. Spook, thank Brand New American, and come to the live tomorrow, brother. Congratulations, and thank you, Brand New American.
What's up, BNA?
That's awesome, dude. Again, the complaints are part of the character building, and it's part of y'all getting to know each other better. On how to push each other's buttons and how not to push each other's buttons. That is an absolute wise freaking statement.
Yeah. I would agree with that completely.
So tell me if y'all are getting served ads, because I've got them turned off and I'm getting these nag messages to serve ads, and I'm not doing it. So if you get served an ad, I'm just curious if YouTube ever just overrides me and says, fuck it, I'm serving an ad. I get it, buddy. And my whole thing is, I've shifted since I quit working in my normal capacity. I'm now a totally different night owl. I mean, it's just weird. Chris, congratulations, buddy. I mean,
damn, Chris, you're old.
My marriage counselor said at the time, who also he's a therapist. He was my therapist after my marriage counseling didn't go as well as it should have, or maybe it went the way it should have. But he said, the person you marry can be responsible for 90% of your happiness or 90% of your misery. And I totally disagreed with him on that. And he said, why do I disagree with him? And I said, nobody's responsible for your happiness except you. So that's important going into a relationship is, being happy and comfortable in your own skin with
Yeah.
yourself and not
Yeah,
looking
if you
for
can't be
someone
that-
to define that for you.
Yeah. The thing is, you've got to be comfortable being by yourself, and the other person is just there as the support and makes you better versus being dependent upon that person.
Correct. There's a huge difference. And I learned this in my last relationship, and sometimes you just have to ask, what do people need? Like going through grief, situations of deep grief that I don't know how to deal with it, but I probably should have asked more. Dude, that's awesome. Like I think that's a successful. There's so many people that have long-lasting, fruitful marriages, and I'd love to see it continue to be the majority. I don't know if it's the majority now. I don't know how the statistics work out, but every situation is different, because I can't say that you should stick it out if your partner's abusive, or something like that. I think there are reasons where you gotta take care of you. Keep working through them, Ed. I'm telling you, I think it's the way that it was meant to be. Maybe not. But like, I think of another guy in here who does a lot of, I think his wife's his best friend too, which is important. And a lot of y'all that have that connection, that friend, soulmate, lover, the whole thing. And that's great because y'all wanted the same thing. And being honest and being able to be vulnerable, open, and honest to what you really do want, cat scratch, what's up, is going to lead to one person maybe trying to manipulate a situation over another one because they're codependent, where if you talk about it and you find out that you're both ready to settle down, that this is what we're looking for, why keep looking, right? That's when you settle down. I don't think there's a time frame on it. And I know some people don't believe, and it's religious, you shouldn't live together before you get married. I think it would be scary to get married never having lived with somebody, for me personally. But I've only been married once, and will only have been married once.
Married 6 months isn't bad, but were you wife 1, 2, or 3 for Tony?
Judging by that, I'm thinking 1, but we'll see.
Well, no, they're LDS, so we can have multiple ones. I just
Oh yeah. So you're talking about sisters?
No, wives. Because
I used to watch the show Sister Wives.
oh yeah, that's a whole different element.
I'm being sarcastic. I try to throw in humor and it never hits. That's why I'm not a stand-up comic, nor a mathematician, nor a rocket scientist. My brother got all that though. That's weird. My brother, who's 5 years younger than me, he's a biomedical engineer, and he's worked for the same company for like 30 years and goes into heart surgeries with the doctors, and he drives their software through a computer that they find blockages with.
Yeah, that's what you say. Hey, Stevie, watch the screen. I got something to show you.
Stevie, y'all will make it, brother. If you both want to make it, you'll make it. Or if you're both not, because sometimes you don't want to, but if you're both willing to stick to it, you'll make it. And if you're not, for me, I was not the one that wanted it to end, but once it did, and I got sober after that, it all made sense. Things have an expiration date sometimes. And sometimes we hang on to things past their expiration date. That's okay too. Plus, my ex was fucking nuts, but that's a whole nother story.
Should have to be with you.
No doubt. Oh, seriously, Stevie? That's what my my ex and I did. That was her whole reason, you know, that we done the thing, raised a child, and I thought that was the wrong time to do it. But I'm a traditionalist, I guess, in that way.
I was the same for mine.
But hopefully, Stevie, I don't know what your plans are. You're younger than me. I was in one kind of long-term relationship for a while after I was married, and when I got out of that voluntarily, I'm kind of done with that. I don't think I'm going to be the guy that has a second marriage. I would be very surprised if I do. It'll be after I get into much more advanced dementia. So maybe when I'm 70 or 80.
Next week.
Could be. Truest statement again. Nick is dropping truth bombs. And I think if you're truly a happy person, you truly attract happy people. Crispy, that's a great initiative there too, buddy.
Crispy, that's complete BS. You outkicked your coverage on that one.
Most of us somehow did. I cannot help you with that, unfortunately. And that's very, very true. I mean, that's a great way that society, coming from a couple of elderly people, look at it. You know, your appliances don't last like they used to. You didn't have somebody come out and fix them when something breaks. I can remember my dad and me loading up the TV when I was a kid and taking it to the local TV repairman, you know, because you kept shit. And maybe with our disposable existences, that's kind of crossed over as part of it.
B&A, I'll send you an instructional video.
Your Karma Sutra?
What's up, War Room? What's up, Space Cuz?
Where there's Space Ghost? What's going on, brother? Good to see you. I've got all chat on my thing over on my other monitor, and then I've got all chat here. I'm missing people. Like I missed Stevie when he came in. And y'all said Faction is live at 11:15 Central Standard Time. I think that's 9:15 Left Coast time. I could be wrong.
12:15 God's time.
Yes, exactly. And I thought that you were on my time, but that shows how good I was in geography. Another one of my learning disabilities. Maybe I'm just special. I never needed a helmet, though.
You did lick windows, though. And screw doors.
System? Oh, it's 10 now, yeah. But we got an hour and 15 till those guys go live, I think. And sometimes, I mean, those things, those are the best relationships when you can realize stuff like that. Whether you're joking or being serious, it's true. Sometimes you just need your space, not because I guess there's some selfishness to that. For me, it's to be a better person for my wife and kid, to get some of the shit out of my head.
Jesse?
And I think what Meredith said so true too. Everybody's going to have a different recipe that works for them. I still think communication cannot be overestimated enough, how important it is. Because it's something very easy to take for granted if you see somebody every day, all the time, or after work, or however your schedules are.
Yeah.
Smash the like button, guys. Thank you, Meredith.
Jesse, I would agree, but I'm not as flexible as I used to be.
So I feel like throwing Shane under the bus. I don't think I'm going to. So I get a call from him today when I'm driving through the tornado, so I could barely hear him. And he's like, "Did you hear the latest internet drama?" I'm like, "No, dude." And I was expecting to hear some, knife tuber drama. You're like, Johnny Somalia got knocked out, dude, in Korea. You know who Johnny Somalia is? You probably don't, Kyle.
No.
Good. He's one of those brain rot YouTubers that I always talk about. You know, the other guys, I don't talk about him much, but are those the other ones? And the fact that Shane thought that that was drama and called me, I just thought that was beautiful. And I'm sure he's trolling me a little bit. He's like, I just thought you'd want to know, man. I was like, dude, I appreciate it.
What was he doing? I haven't talked to the SOB in 2 days.
He wasn't going to be around tonight. I don't know. I didn't dig if he was doing, you know, because I never know what if he's going fishing with a buddy or going to dinner with a sweetie or what, going with his wife, whatever he's doing.
Yeah, I haven't talked to him in a couple days.
Meredith trying to be a little better tomorrow than today. That worked in AA, and I think that probably works. I think every marriage could go through a 12-step exact program, and if they honestly looked at that, it would help marriages. It could be applied to almost everything. It was written by a Scientologist on LSD.
Ellis, yeah, people he likes.
What'd I miss? Who are you talking about?
Ryan Ellis. He's just being butthurt because Shane didn't call him.
Shane is, and I consider Shane a good buddy, but he's not a talker. Like I'm not a talker. A lot of times people call me and they don't get me. A lot of times it's because I'm asleep. A lot of times I just don't have it in me to talk. I'm just in kind of a mode. That's and 1931 Leatherworks. That's mature. Sometimes separations are needed. We started out with the separation, and you know, both it's a two-party deal, right?
He's a chatty Cathy. I can't get him off the phone.
Who's that, Shane?
Yeah.
Oh, he's very chatty, but not on. He doesn't want to chat every day. What I'm talking about is I'll talk for 2.5 hours on the phone if I'm in the mode to talk. If I'm like into my feels or I'm doing something else, sometimes I just don't. I don't have the bandwidth to deal with it. No, I don't think he called Kyle either. I don't think you were singled out for special treatment.
Yeah, but Ryan's been complaining for weeks. I've talked to him. I talk to him damn near daily, except for that last couple days.
He's a good guy. I talked to him about, well, when I was up at that Knives and More and looking at some of those custom knives, I talked to him about Shane, and we were looking at his Instagram, and he was like, I'd love to have a couple of his knives. He loves to have local makers up there.
Aunt, join the club.
Shane is wiser than he would ever appear, and he's a master troll. Again, he had Metal Complex reply 96 times in a post that wasn't even what it was about. What the issue Metal Complex had was. It's hilarious.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's Shane and I's existence, and we're not even, and we're about an hour apart in drive time, and we just, you know, get in
What's
our
up,
heads
Cheeto?
sometimes.
What's up, Drizzy?
True dude. What's up, Cheeto? Panic, it's Cheeto. Good to see you, buddy.
It's funny how you click with certain people. Him and I couldn't stand each other. We hated each other at first.
You and Shane?
Yeah.
That's how relationships that it can evolve, right? That's a good example of how it's kind of similar to marriages. You know, now marriages, I would look at it as a red flag, but with Shane, if you can talk through things that are such night and day differences, there's something worth bonding over if you can get past some of that shit. Or did you just think a lot of his stuff was being serious?
No, what it ended up being was it was stupid, petty stuff. And then we both would like joke, but yet he would never greet me. And then he tried being nice and he tried to greet me, and I would never say hi to him back in chats. And then we just kept playing the game, and then we just kept making fun of each other, and we finally just became friends.
That's how it works, man.
We were at the time we were both too similar, and he hated it because I was coming in being funny, and he was the one being funny normally.
That's a fact. Yeah, I think if you put it in the camera's view, they'll shut it down. And but on Rumble you can show them. But anyway, and see, that's the thing I love about Pocket Metal is he and Donnie absolutely blew up with each other in the chats. He and Shane blew up with each other in the chats. And he and Scotch and Things blew up the first time they met. And now they do lives together. You know, they've gotten past all the shit that they found so repulsive. And maybe it's, you know, it's good to see relationships work different ways, right? They're complicated, but they can be simple if people have the same boundaries and the same expectations, maybe, which nobody ever does. That's the universal problem. Marco goes back. He's probably been back.
I didn't know he left.
Well, it might have just been me leaving the chat. We hadn't looked at knives tonight. We haven't.
What are knives?
Knives are what I want to talk more about knives, but I want to have something to talk about. I don't want to talk about them just to talk about knives. Because I've got hundreds of knives I could talk about, but.
Well, what are you curious about? What is something that you've never experienced knife-wise that something you don't understand about knives?
Oh, there's a lot. There's a lot I don't understand. And what I've enjoyed, and it doesn't, you know, it's taking knives apart and modding them. You know, that's where I've learned so much. Because I used to not take a knife apart. And I'm not too proud to say that I learned it from watching Lefty's train wreck videos where he would have horrible disassembly videos. But they were entertaining. But dude, last week I put on some scales on a Microtech MSI. And I don't know if you've ever taken one apart, but the ram lock, the way this thing works, you know, it's got a straight spring, right? That goes back. Well, the spring, when it goes back towards the tail of the knife, there's a little barrel spacer right here that's threaded that this little piston thing slips over that puts the spring under tension into this thing, right? So I took it apart, was trying to keep it from blowing apart on me, took the other side off after I got the pivot through, and dude, that barrel spacer shot out of the knife at least 250 feet per second. I heard it hit at least 2 walls and a ceiling before it hit the ground. I told you this. And finally found it like an hour later. But the thing I'm trying to learn about is steel. And the more I learn about it, the more I realize that, unfortunately, I'm not a hard user guy. And I have a hard time, except when I'm sharpening it, telling a lot of difference. And that's where I think I can tell the most difference as an amateur metal guy is how it feels under a stone and how it burrs up.
I think it's important regardless of whether you're a hard user or not.
Yeah, that's something I never went that deep with him. Kevin Smith and Knives, what's up? But the super glue and the pivots is crazy.
I got 5 on that, Ellis. Hey, Kevin.
I don't know if Devo goes to Blade Show anymore as exhibitors. Maybe they are. I haven't been since Kevin's second child was born. He has been very, very thin in his time. No, there's nothing at all wrong with it, Nick. And I'm in the process now of just trying to learn, not so I can be someone who talks about it, but just so that I understand it, at least the basics. Exactly. And nothing worth learning or that you're going to get a quick fix until we get Neuralinks. And I will line up for that.
I will line you up for that too. Because you'd be the perfect NPC.
Well, I mean, if somebody could put a Neuralink in me and I could function, that would be proof that it's, worth the price of admission. I don't know what the price of admission is going to be. Probably ridiculous.
Hell no.
It depends on what the real nefarious reason for it is. So if they want it as a control mechanism, they'd make the cost of entry very low. If they want to be able to eventually flip the switch, so to speak, as it were. What's up, Bluminati?
Hey, Bloomy.
Channel member, good to see you, buddy.
Yeah, you'd have to take my last breath before you put one of those in me.
Did you watch the Rogan where him and Elon talked about it, and Joe Rogan had the same initial position? I'm not putting that in me. And then Elon kind of laid out, what if you could access this at this time, this at that time, and kind of painted a picture. Again, not that Elon's telling the truth, but that made it sound like that would be pretty awesome to be able to just refer to any language, be in Russian and speak Russian.
I don't care. My life and my being has been created the way it's supposed to be. I don't want any outside influence.
But you read the internet. And that's what Neuralink is.
With a grain of salt.
Well, with a grain of salt, right. So
I'm not being run by it.
Correct. Well, I mean, you might not be, but I'm sure that there's a large percentage of people that are on the internet subconsciously that are having a large portion of their lives controlled by it, how they use it.
Yeah, because there's too many people that are weak-minded and won't think for themselves.
And if you're weak-minded and don't think for yourself, it is like a tar pit of like-minded bubbles that you can find. You can find whatever you're looking for, in terms of that support group to make you feel like exoskeleton. I agree. I might take an exoskeleton before the Neuralink because my skeleton seems to be failing.
Yeah, I agree to a point, but I also try to get away from it as much as I can. I'm definitely a person of free will and free thinking. That I don't take into consideration just what someone says. You actually have to go out and learn it and see about it.
Cross-reference it and explore the papers that it usually came from. It's not ever that it's
too many people now just want to be told what to think, and it's sad.
I didn't realize this, but I was watching some garbage YouTube stuff today about some of these huge creators, with 25 million subs, and they do this thing called Creator Clash. It's a boxing match. They do it every year, and there's always drama there. But there's this group, and I'm not going to say their political affiliation because I'm sure it happens on both sides, but they're almost like a Hollywood industry plant. They get an audience. They get, like, there might be a group of 20 of this genre of creators that have big streaming audiences. And there are people or leaders of those that aren't on screen that they all get their talking points from. So it's almost like a propaganda thing that is, 60% or 50% of the people think it's just somebody talking the truth. And the detractors are like, this is all the same information that every other one of these podcasts are saying.
Right there.
So yeah, it's
that's a great idea, Crispy.
Yeah, absolutely. And you could even go as crazy as Tucker Carlson and only drive carbureted vehicles and carry a flip phone. I don't even think he carries a flip phone, does he? I don't think he has a cellular phone. Dr. Drew Dude knew who I was talking about. And it was actually his circle, though. But I saw a video on this Sniper Wolf last night. It was pretty funny.
I swear to God, if you do that, I'm ending the stream.
Andrew, the only way I can exercise my brain, whether it's learning about Google search, SEO, other stuff that I do professionally, or in my hobby, it's the only way to work out my brain, because I will go into my thoughts, and that's not a good thing. The Carl Stevie rap, after his live stop, and I've noticed this on my Apple TV, it'll play the last line like on loop, even though the live's off. So I kept hearing that little Carl audio clip. So I got back in the room and turned it off.
It does that sometimes.
But on Sniper Wolf, she's still doing the same shit, but she's looking a lot better doing it. She's had a lot of work. She's been out of the internet for a year, and she's probably had a lot of procedures done. But
damn it, John! What did I just say?
I know. I had to go back up. He typed it, so I didn't want him to think I didn't appreciate the connection.
Drew, you can shut up.
Panic at the Cheeto. I can't just Google. All you have to do is Google it, and it's 2 S's. So SSNIPER. It is yes, you're close. You're getting warmer.
He knows exactly what you're talking about, John.
Night MPG EDC. I know all these people do. Anybody that's on YouTube, you can't help. And I'm surprised that you haven't seen them suggested to you by YouTube, because they're YouTube darlings. Everybody talks about in these groups. And there's a difference in a video being released and being shown, what they call that, impressions, to a lot of people and have a chance to go viral. And then there is a way to get your video very easy to come up if somebody searches for a certain thing. So you can get those long-term engagement and helpful videos and stuff like that.
I don't get that crap in my algorithm, John. Like, and if I do see something that's stupid, I just click on it that's not interested, and I don't see that crap anymore.
That's right, because you're filtering. See, I don't filter mine. What I do is what I click on, because it'll change. Like if I'm learning keyboard music, which is one of my little things I'm jacking around with now, I'll get too much of it, and I'll have to go in and retrain it, because I rarely get suggested knife content anymore.
I don't either.
Very little, just because I haven't been consuming a whole lot. Have a good night, Meredith.
Yeah, I don't really. Well, I know I've said it a bunch, but I don't watch knife content, so I don't get it suggested.
I'm going to show y'all the latest neck knife. Check out that little shank. I need to get a smaller chain.
I can't believe you spent money on another one of those.
Guess how much it was? I know it was too much.
That's exactly how much it was. Whatever you spent, $1 more.
I hate all the political and again, it's very important. I just can't, because I don't know enough. It just seems to me like people yelling over each other. There's very little, what's the word I'm looking for? Tolerance to opinions, or considering other opinions or other views. I'm just not into it.
There's just no open, honest conversations. That's the issue. It's not the differing in opinion. It's the willingness to have a conversation and not run away from it.
And I'm sure they're lower level people maybe that'll be more likely to have those debates. But I think when you get these mega creators, for one, they've been profitable by having their opinion, and they probably had their opinion before they were profitable, and they probably really believe it. So when they get that clout power script, more people watch them, they might not feel like they need to. It's wrong, but they're right, and others are wrong.
No, I'm not saying that they can't have an opinion and stick by it. What I'm saying is having a conversation with someone who's of a different opinion and having and actually listen and take interest in what the other person says. And you can still, at the end of the day, you can still be like, okay, cool, we disagree.
Matt, are you talking about this afternoon's with Ethan and Hassan? Because yeah, that's a textbook in what Kyle's talking about. Two guys, they were going to have one person ask a question, the next person answer it, and then go back and forth. And it was just basically yelling over each other.
I don't like either one of them, but I think that they're not good for civil discourse.
And it's the only reason they had the stream today was for money. And if you saw the super chats going through, I mean, I guarantee you, we could pull up soundboard, but I guarantee you those streams made $15,000 each for those guys.
You also have to look at who they're funded by as well, too. It's not just by that.
You're exactly right. Well, yeah, you're right. Because Ethan's got his too. I think Hassan's are more, because Hassan was part of the group that I was talking about that I was watching a video about today. That he's kind of the one that puts out the talking points that all these other big creators, but not as big as him, echo. And the users or the audience float like they do in nice streams, I guess, float between those ideas that confirm their internal beliefs or what they want to believe, right?
Or they just want someone to tell them what to think. They definitely, I mean, regardless of where you are at, there's way too much grifting going on. And if something's an op-ed, that's cool. Just don't publicize it as fact. Don't publicize it as truth.
It's an opinion piece.
Correct.
That's how the newspapers used to do that very well.
That's how it should be.
But the internet doesn't have those. Well, now they do more with, but the truth, or the truth bots, whatever you want to call them, are programmed to be biased too, or could be.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I'll just leave it there. But you
don't see Panic's question?
What? Oh, I don't really care what he's rambling on about. He's
I made it big for you.
I know. He's just trying to get you to talk to
I know he is. He's trying to trigger me so you'll put me backstage. Put me in the corner.
I wouldn't do that.
I kept putting, what was that guy's name last night in Stevie's who kept saying, hey, tough guy, take off your hat.
Oh.
Hey, tough guy. Yeah. Every time he'd pop his head up, I fucking put him in timeout. Stevie hates that too. He doesn't want people being put in timeout.
No, not unless they cross bounds.
Well, he just was spammy. When people get spammy,
that's acceptable as well. I mean,
that's an acceptable, you think, reason to put somebody in timeout if they're just spamming the same thing over and over and over.
Correct.
Trying to get a reaction.
Correct. Yeah, I don't. He's good about not wanting to censor people. They can be idiots. They can be trolls. Just don't be racist. Don't be spamming. Hateful. And don't attack people in the chat.
He plays it better than anybody. When the people try to get him to say somebody's name, they did it a couple times last night. Wish his niece a happy birthday. Give me a hand job, or I need a hand job. Anita, hand job.
I've heard of her.
And Kyle or Stevie was mispronouncing and said, "Hey, is he any relation to?" He always goes back to that one.
It's a classic.
Panic. She's a very well-known cheater in video games who now does commentary content. And she's gorgeous. So there's that. But she also looks like not the person that you would have a long-lasting relationship more than a week with.
If that's what you're into, I think there are definitely better, more eye candy streamers for female gamers.
Absolutely. I agree. And again, I've only been made aware of her because something fed her to me. I've never watched her content. I've watched this guy, Jack Snacks, who did the big, when I talked about it last year when she doxed him, but because he just fucks with her. That's how I get my content on these people, or just by people that parody him. Because I'm looking for it for entertainment. I'm not looking, the content I watch is designed to be mindless so I don't get into my thoughts about politics, or like last night when Stevie and them were talking about the volcanoes all around him. That's the kind of stuff that if left to my own devices and I started to focus on that, that would get me kind of wigged out after a while too. I'd start hearing them crumbling when I'm driving around them.
You don't have any around you.
I know I don't. Well, we've got the foothills of the Appalachians. Aren't all mountains the result of, well, no, it could be tectonic, right? So it's not all.
Yeah, they definitely aren't active. So
right.
I mean, I don't know. I like that kind of stuff, but
I find it fascinating because it usually happens over there, right? I remember because Stevie said he was born, I want to say he was like 1 year old. I want to say I was in middle school when Mount St. Helens went off. Do y'all remember what year that was? I could Google it.
I don't know.
Because we watched it in social studies. And they were talking about the long term, which now it's past, but the long term consequences of it. It was 1980. So went to high school in 83. So yeah, I was in 6th grade.
My algorithm is very
Paul, that's funny.
Very curated. And it's I don't have any knife stuff in there right now. So like I'd say 90% of it is cars, guns, woodworking, golf, cameras. And that's about it.
So if I go just to my homepage and I share it, I bet it looks totally different than yours. Music, the Eagles. I can't get enough of the Eagles. It's night.
They're one of my favorites of all time.
The Eagles?
I had, at one point, I had every CD that they'd ever made, including limited edition releases in like Japan and overseas. And then I had a bunch of stuff stolen out of my car. But yeah, I've seen them in concert a couple times.
I saw him once. When I think of the Eagles, I can sum them up in 3 words. Joe fucking Walsh. And I know he was just a coming in and going out guy, but that's what I liked about the Eagles. I didn't like
what really pisses me off?
Huh?
What really pisses me off is when people call them country.
And I'm gonna they're not, because but they have some of their songs, some of Henley's, not Henley, some of who's the guy that died? Not Felder. Who was who's the singer on Miami Vice? You had Timothy on bass. You had Don Henley,
the singer.
What was the other guy's name? The other singer. Not Don. Was it Felder?
You're making me have a brain fart.
There are 2 vocalists that sang all their hits, and they were all pinned, kind of like Lennon McCarthy. Those are the 2 that hated each other. Glenn Fry, thank you, Neil McKenzie.
Yes.
But Glenn Fry's songs to me sounded very country, like
he had more of a twang to him, but he was not like, their music itself was not country, and I just hated that
classification.
Yeah, that putting them in a category like that, it just wasn't fitting. The last time I saw them was at when they got back together for the Hell Freezes Over tour.
That's the one I saw that had Joe Walsh, and it didn't have Don Felder, but it had Glenn Fry was still alive.
Yep.
It was good. I've heard their last tour is a AI train wreck. Because
I don't know.
Don Henley's
This
the only original guy in this tour.
it was an outdoor grass amphitheater, and it was the Eagles and Steve Miller Band, which
I had a chance.
I've seen
to
them several
see-
times too.
I was in Austin, Texas 3 years ago, maybe 2, for a business trip, and we were staying right next to the Austin city limits, like literally next door to it.
Yeah.
And they were giving us tickets to go see Steve Miller. It was his last little thing. I did not go that night. I could have gone next door and seen Steve Miller do his Austin city limits gig. I've watched it on YouTube since, but again, a guy I appreciated his music. There's some songs I used to sing, but I never owned a Steve Miller Band album. I owned Hotel California.
Yeah.
That's the only Eagles album I owned.
Huh.
I had every Steely Dan, every Pink Floyd. There was Allman Brothers. People used to think were country.
Yeah.
In Alabama, because people just take what they think of music is and try to define it based on their own internal language.
Were you
But see,
into like I end up liking a lot of the older music because of my parents. Did you like one of my dad's favorites was ELO?
I loved Electric Light Orchestra, dude. ELO. I had what was the double album that I played the vinyl off of it? It had the guitar flying saucer on the front, black background with the colorful guitar, and it was a 2-disc set. Hold on, let me pull it up. But yes, I had
Stevie's
Eldorado.
about to get banned.
Is Stevie talking up?
He's saying
That's not his genre of music, but I listened to, and I'll tell you what my dad turned me on. Out of the Blue.
Okay.
Out of the Blue was my favorite ELO album. That and Eldorado. And A New World Record. Those were all good. Those are the ones I had in my collection.
I'm not I listen to all kinds of stuff. I mean, but the like stuff from 60s,
Absolutely.
70s all the way into like like Stevie, I'm a huge 90s rap fan.
Me too. That's the stuff that I gravitated towards. But when you were talking about like the music that kind of shaped your childhood,
well, there's sentimental stuff to stuff when you were in your informative years. You know what I mean?
Well, some of it was sentimental, but some of it carried over, like Steely Dan and the Police, that I was introduced to by my dad that I liked throughout their existence till today. Where some of it I really appreciated because they were big into the Outlaws. They weren't like what I would consider country, but Emmylou Harris, Willie Nelson, Waylon Jennings, Chris Christopherson. And I know Janis Joplin wasn't country, but they loved her. I mean, just music like that. And then my dad listened to a lot of weird, because it was when compact discs were just coming out and he would buy weird like Mannheim Steamroller and shit like that I never could ever even vibe with. I'd have to leave the room.
Yeah, that stuff's weird to me. But I've really
Sweet Talking Woman in that. So long, sweet talking woman. REO Speedwagon wasn't really my gig, but oddly enough, neither was Toto. And in the last 4 weeks, I probably watched more Toto videos, Steve Lukather and Toto, than any other band, and I don't know why. And it started with Rosanna from this one tour that they do where it starts off kind of a cappella. They're just a tight band.
You know who I've kind of went back and rediscovered that, I mean, I knew of them, but I never really listened to, I was too young for it, but to actually have more appreciation for it is Heart.
Oh yeah. Small World. I was
talk about a powerhouse voice. She is amazing.
Did you see her Stairway to Heaven at the Kennedy Honors?
Yes.
Did that make your skin just like grow hair?
Have you seen the new video or the new song with, well, it's not all that new, but she did with Disturbed with David Draymond?
No.
Oh, that's great.
David Draymond, I got to write that down. Who is he?
Lead singer for Disturbed.
Oh, okay.
And a lot of people don't realize he was actually a tenor, classically trained singer, but yet he was doing hardcore rock.
Andrew, Warren Haynes Band. Warren Haynes when he was with the Allman Brothers, Government Mule. Warren is my man. I love Warren Haynes. Derek Trucks has taken, I think his place to me is my favorite.
What's up,
slide
Guns?
guitarist, blues guitarist. I like where Taylor swims from the stage to the back of the stage. I saw how she does that. It's a pretty cool trick. Goes under the stage and it looks like she's swimming while one of her songs going on.
Well, it's easy to do that. You have less drag when you have zero ass.
That's true. But I think she's bought an ass recently. I'll tell you this is something different, but I was not a huge. Go ahead. Go ahead, buddy. Did I lose Kyle?
I'm here now, but is the chat cut out for a second, or your audio cut out?
My favorite Boy George moment was when he was on MTV and he was so heroined out, he stuck the pin up his nose and forgot to take his foundation off. Boy George has gone through the ringer and back. But the other video I watched recently, and I liked Linkin Park, but I was never just, a Linkin Park fan per se. But there's a video, totally acoustic, of just one of the guitar players in Chester singing Adele's Rolling in the Deep. Have y'all seen that?
Yeah.
Dude, that guy, I mean, I've always loved his voice, but that is just haunting.
So talented.
Oh, yeah. And the one.
That was go ahead.
Well, he does an a cappella version of What's the Crawling in My Skin?
Yeah, Rolling in the Deep.
No, that's.
Oh, no. Oh, you're talking about
the other one. Yeah, their song.
Yeah, his. Yeah.
He's doing it in an arena and it's just him singing it out in the band's not even playing. He's just a cappella belting that shit out with feeling like you don't even know.
My biggest regret for music wise was I got tickets.
Oh, Paul, I hate that, buddy. Sorry, Kyle, go ahead.
I got tickets for the mashup concert that Linkin Park did with Jay-Z out at the Roxy in Vegas, in LA.
Did you see that?
I was supposed to go with my buddy and my work would not let me off no matter what. I begged and begged and I couldn't afford to lose a job. So
it happens.
I ended up not being able to go see it. And he went with another one of my buddies. And
great album though. Their collaborations were awesome.
That
Adele does rock. And when you said Heart earlier, my daughter, her boyfriend is can't remember if he's a sound engineer or a lighting engineer, but he tours with bands for 3 months out of the year, or he's on a short Tampa tour right now. But Heart's who he's been touring with. And I didn't realize Ann Wilson had so many health issues lately.
Yeah,
she performs from a wheelchair now and has had a couple of strokes. They had to postpone it, but evidently they are some of the best artists or their production company to work for if you're a lighting engineer or a sound engineer, because they're super kind people. That's awesome, Ed. I wish I'd seen Moving Pictures. I only saw Rush once. It was a Presto tour. And I loved early Rush. Subdivisions was all right, but I kind of lost touch with them.
I did not like Rush. I can never get into that. And I know people hate, that's Neil's favorite band and he'll go on and on, wax poetically about it, but I couldn't stand them. I couldn't get into their stuff, but
that's normal though, because a lot of it was so beat driven by, and not everybody reacts to the same music. A great example to that is, Fish.
I didn't like Fish either.
I hate Fish.
Yeah, same.
I love Widespread Panic. I know people who love Fish, but the thing for me was I hated, because I was exposed to it for 2 years in college, ad nauseum, the Grateful Dead.
And I hate the Grateful Dead.
Dude, I went and saw my first concert in 87. Saw them 63 times. They're my favorite band by far. They're probably the most important, and history will have to tell this out, but they're probably the most important Americana band for the last 100 years. In terms of work and the different types of music they exposed people to.
See,
And
like,
not, I mean, they do country, they do, I mean, you name it, bluegrass, the whole 9 yards. It's just,
I respect it, but I can't get into the new Linkin Park with the chick singer. I mean, she's talented, but it's just, it's not the same. You're not replacing Chester.
no, they should have bagged that. That's like Soundgarden coming out with a new singer.
Yeah, and I'm a huge Chris Cornell fan. Like
Chris Cornell, his acoustic
one of my
stuff,
all-time
his
favorites.
acoustic tour is, those are the videos I watch the most. I loved him in Soundgarden. I loved him in Temple of the Dog.
Yep.
That song that Footsteps is Pearl Jam's version. It's on the Temple of the Dog album. Chris Cornell wrote it with different lyrics. His voice is haunting, but when he does like,
when he does the Sinead O'Connor Prince cover,
that's it. Yeah, that's the one I was looking for.
When Nothing Compares to You.
Nothing Compares to You.
I mean,
and he also does Thank You by Led Zeppelin.
You can feel the pain in his voice. Like, it's just unreal. And
same with Chester. They can convey that in their.
Yeah. I mean, okay, another one, same like Gon said, Alice in Chains. Like,
Lane.
The old MTV Unplugs were the best ever. Like
those discs live on too. Those discs were great. I've got them. Alice in Chains is one of my favorite. That Rooster off Unplugged is.
Yep.
And he hadn't played with them in what, 3 years? They hadn't even seen him in 3 years when he showed up for that.
And Nirvana on there was impeccable, even though I know
Pearl Jam.
Pearl Jam was great on there. When
Temple Pilots.
Yep. Incubus. I know Stevie hates Incubus. Incubus is one of my favorites. I love them. And they did a phenomenal job on there.
Well, Nirvana did pull out a Meat Puppet song. You got to give them that.
Yeah.
One of my favorite guitarists of all time.
Yeah.
My number one is still Prince, and I don't think anybody could, with a logical debate, make me think that there's one more talented.
I think if he would have had more years, Jimmy would have been there.
Yep.
But
and there's no telling what he would have done in his older years. And the Tears in Heaven, talking about conveying emotion in a totally different way with sorrow. That is the song in the MTV Unplugged that probably gave me the most feels of any. I love the guy that plays with Eric Clapton, but I loved the lines that he plays on the guitar while he's singing. That is next level.
The other one that gets me is, oh God, what is it? I'll come back to it.
No, but I think it goes back to your best artists, for whatever reason, are Torture Souls. I mean, a lot of pain comes out. A lot of people didn't like Velvet Revolver, Stone Temple Pilots, but Scott Weiland had a great voice.
Scott Weiland's phenomenal.
He could sing anything. But a lot of it's driven by the demons, I think.
Same with Shinedown.
Yep.
That dude was so talented. What was the other guy? Mike. Is it Mike
Patton?
Mike Patton. Thank you.
Faith No More, and
yes.
I love Easy on a Sunday Morning. Have you seen him do that?
Yeah, dude. His vocal range is 100% insane. And you watch people that are like talented artists break down him, and they're in awe.
Yeah, I love those reaction videos where you have professional singers react to stuff like a song that's cheesy, but it's a great version, the Houston version of Journey's Don't Stop Believing.
Yeah.
And they talk about his range and stuff like that. But yeah, Mike Patton is the GOAT. And what's funny about him is the only song I identified with until about 5 years ago was What Is It?
Yeah.
That's it. What is it? But he can do anything. He can sing the phone book and it would sound good.
When he did the, what was the one song where he goes up and down in, there was a video of it was on a late night show. It was Conan, maybe, when he does like the howling from down low and then he goes up top.
Yeah, he's running octaves with his voice.
Right, but he was doing it. The low octaves were it was so breathy in and out you can't understand it. Let me look it up.
Yeah, we'll play it. I'll take a strike for that. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of him personally. His voice is just great. And I think he's a cool looking dude. I think he looks like he just does not give two fucks. Look up Mike Patton covering Poker Face. I bet that's good. Have you seen that, Kyle?
Yeah.
I haven't seen it, but 1931 just said, look up that one. That's a good one. I'll tell you who else is great. I hate Slipknot. I don't deal with them at all, but Corey Taylor.
Corey Taylor. That's the one I was going to say earlier.
That
When he goes
motherfucker is
acapella.
shit. Yes. Oh my God.
That song,
his acoustic, just him and an acoustic guitar doing stuff like Billie Jean and all the other stuff is just
no, when he does the song he wrote about his drummer and his ex, and he goes acapella with it, or not acapella, but acoustic with it, and his voice cracks and they're singing along. Oh God.
And just what you can feel in it. Yeah. I mean, and I don't know if you know this, but he's a writer too. He's got like 5 books. I've downloaded several of them. I bought them on Apple Books, and they're like, let me find the title of one, but they're not what you would think at all. But Corey is somebody who I hate Slipknot, but I think he is awesome. I love his stuff.
Yeah, and I'm a big Corey Taylor fan.
What's his other band's name? Stone Sour.
Yeah.
So he's got. Let's go to the library here. So probably the funniest, because they're funny books. I mean, they're books. I read them. They're only about 200 pages, but I would read them in like 2 sittings because they're just that kind of book. He writes kind of just off the top of his head. One of them is called "You're Making Me Hate You" by Corey Taylor. A very good book.
The one I was thinking of was Mike Patton when he does Midlife Crisis on the late night show.
Did you find it?
Let me see if I can grab it for you.
I can grab it if you haven't yet. What was it called again? The song?
Midlife Crisis.
Midlife. Life Crisis Live.
It was on Leno.
Yeah, I'm gonna find it on Leno. Faith No More, Midlife Crisis Live Leno. All right, guys, I'm gonna try to talk through this, even though it won't matter. We'll get the strike anyway, but we'll trim it out.
Terry, I understand that, but I
Is it towards the end?
It should be just the video of. No, it's in the very beginning how he starts the song off.
Can y'all hear that?
Yeah.
So this is Faith No More. What? I fucked up. So this is Faith No More being transformative. Let's go back and play it. All right. Yeah, dude, he's badass.
The ability to shift that quickly,
that range, and there's a lot of videos on him. He's a different guy, man. He's very.
Yeah.
Let's go. Poker Face. Is it this one right here? I guess they're both the same. I'm not going to go hard on this because I'm sure people are hating it, but we'll give it a go. They got a little swig there. Yeah, he's a torture dude too, though, if you watch these videos.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean his range. And And on another note, they have one of my favorite drummers outside of Rage Against the Machine. I love their drummer.
I put one in the private chat for you.
Oh, let me find it. Let me come back to the real world here. All right, let me copy it. Copy. Search.
Terry's Googling again. He tried to copy V for pasting and he just put V in there. I caught you.
Disturbed featuring Ann Wilson, right?
Yeah.
Known for creating memories.
Oh, you freaking ad. See me hover? Boom.
It's amazing how well they blend.
Where are they out of, dude? Because I was just never that exposed to Disturbed.
I love Disturbed. And okay, so Disturbed's cover of Silence of Sound of Silence is the best version of that. Even Simon and Garfunkel said that was the best cover, or that was the best version of that song. It completely transformed it and put it into a modern era. If that song will give you chills.
That's too cool. I'm going to throw one more up here before we go, and y'all tell me if you know this song.
The other one that always gets you right in the feels is Johnny Cash, Hurt.
Oh, when he does Trent Reznor's Hurt? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the video, his voice, his eyes, the whole 9 yards. So y'all know who Billy Strings is, but you haven't probably seen this. Halloween shows why they're dressed weird. This is a bluegrass band. You can go up here just a little bit. Yeah. I've seen them like 2 times off.
I was on my way. Thanks to you, I'm much obliged for such a pleasant stay. Now it's time for me to go. The autumn moon lights my way. Now I smell the rain, and when it rains, it is heading my way.
So that is Billy Strings singing Led Zeppelin. You got to love it. Guys, it is Said Stevie time. He's the best, dude. And he'll play stuff. He'll drop in Widespread Panic. He'll play Grateful Dead songs. He'll play stuff like Nutshell by Alice in Chains. Have you seen that? We got time for that.
I'm not like, I respect the talent, but I'm not a fan.
Yeah, and I can get that totally. I can totally get that. And to me, his history is kind of intense because he comes from a major meth area, family and stuff had issues with that. But he played in punk bands all through high school. So he's got like a rock background, but then his dad got him into bluegrass and they played together and he kind of taught him. But this is the shit right here. Let me find it. Oh, I didn't auto-populated. All right, the Ramen Auditorium, classic. And what to me, he's got a bluegrass voice, and when you hear him do other people, whoops. That's just in the middle of a bluegrass concert. That song comes on. Just singing.
Chase this red line.
The kid has got some great musical taste because of his mom. That's why he likes all this music, because that's her music. Good stuff. Guys, oh, you got anything to share with these people before we go? And
No, thanks for
join
hanging
back
out
up
with
at
us.
11 o'clock tomorrow for a short one.
If I'm around, I'll pop by.
Hold on. Let me click on Terry's link. We're going to look at one more. Hold on. I didn't see it.
Couch gets through the door.
It'll take
Get T-Mobile 5G home internet for just $50.
It'll take all I said, Stevie, for me to get these copyrights lifted.
Underneath the bridge, Darby sprung a leak animals I've
That's pretty badass.
all become my pets. And living on a ranch, you'll get things from the ceiling. It's okay.
Got an intense voice.
Yep.
Playing that 9-line string. I've never heard of him. Stephen Wilson Jr. That's the thing. There's so many talented people out there just making shit happen. And when I first saw Billy Strings like 5 years ago, he played this place here called the Mad City Cafe. And it was a little place that probably holds 300 people. It's like there's a bar at the back, bar at the side, and then there's an elevated lounge where VIPs can sit. But it's a small venue. 2 years later, he was playing our Orion Amphitheater, which is where Dave Matthews and Fish played. So that dude's blown up in popularity.
Have you ever?
Go ahead.
No,
No,
I
you
was
go
just
ahead.
going to say if you like some of that soul music like that, I like Leon Bridges a lot. I don't know if you've ever heard of him.
Looking him up right now.
And there's another group called The Record Company. I like.
Bridges and the Record.
Yep.
What would be a good song from Leon to check out? River?
Yeah.
That's the one that seems to come up. River Live on Austin City Limits.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I'll check that out when we get out of here.
Yeah, and if you listen to The Record Company, the Give It Back to You album.
All right, let me pull that one up too. Because they will be waiting for me with my Sniper Wolf videos. Record Company. What was the name?
The album is the one I liked the best was Give It Back to You.
The song Give It Back.
And that's the album.
Tell me just a song that you dig.
Hard Day Coming Down. You probably have heard of that one, but there's
Hard Day Coming Down. That's Pimpin'. Hold on, let me go back to Hard Day Coming Down. Got it. I'm gonna watch it at the living room concert. All right, I've saved it. Kyle, I appreciate you, brother.
All right, man. Appreciate having me on.
Guys, I appreciate each and every one of you hanging out with me for a little while. I will see all of y'all at Said Stevie very, very shortly. Do me a favor while you're on your way over there. And when you get there, look out for the guy or gal to your left. Look out for the guy or gal to your right. Look out for each other and go forward with love in your hearts. I love you all. Come see me tomorrow at 11. Peace.